Chapter 73. Abducting a Family 1. Humph, you have good eyesight. Charm said proudly. Most spirit beasts would mistake him for a white fox. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue was the master of the purple-eyed snow fox, the mother white tiger didn't repel her anymore. Eat this. Lung Ruoxue hurriedly walked to the mother white tiger's side when she saw that the tiger had lowered her vigilance. She didn't know how to deliver babies, so she could only rely on this tiger itself. Thank you. The white tiger opened her mouth and took the pill Lung Ruoxue gave her. The pill melted as soon as it entered her mouth, and a refreshing fragrance refreshed her mind. Moreover, the mother white tiger clearly felt that all the spiritual power consumed in her body had returned, and the pain had lessened considerably. She was full of strength, which was of vital importance to her, who was currently in labor. About half an hour later, under the efforts of the recovered mother white tiger, 3 little white tigers were finally born. Lung Ruoxue was at a loss as she looked at the 3 little white balls of flesh that weren't even the size of an adult's palm. Why aren't they eggs? Lung Ruoxue asked, a little dumbfounded. Aren't all spirit beasts born from eggs in this world? Charm looked at his master's confused expression and chuckled. His master looked really cute now. Master, spirit beasts can choose whether they want to give live births or not. It's just that giving live births consumes more nutrients from the mother's body. So spirit beasts basically choose to birth eggs, Charm explained. It was clear that this white tiger loved her children very much, and was also a great mother to choose to give birth to her own children. Oh, so that's why. Lung Ruoxue felt so embarrassed. Fortunately, there was no one else here. Actually, she couldn't be blamed for not knowing, because such things weren't recorded in any book. Dear! The white tiger outside ran in, and rushed to his beloved wife's side, as if there was no one else around after the danger was averted. The 2 tigers rubbed against each other affectionately, with only each other in their eyes. Can these 2 tigers not be so mushy? Lung Ruoxue was a little speechless, but she saw that his injuries had healed, so Yi Chun and the others must have treated him. Schwer, how did it go? Yi Chun was the first to enter. Beloved master. A purple shadow jumped directly into Lung Ruoxue's arms. She gave birth to 3 little tigers. Lung Ruoxue said somewhat helplessly while caressing the soft fur of Darling in her arms. The 2 tigers didn't even care about their children once they saw each other. Let me see, Yi Chun said curiously. Where? The others heard that 3 tiger cubs had been born the moment they entered, and all of them were eager to see them. Wow, they're so cute. The 3 fluffy little meatballs captured everyone's heart instantly. But they only dared to look at them, and didn't dare to touch them at all. After all, most beasts protecting their cubs were very fierce. After being intimate with his wife, the male white tiger walked to Lung Ruoxue and said gratefully, "Thank you for saving my wife." Although they were high-level holy beasts who had never liked humans, this human had helped their entire family. He really didn't know how to repay her. He thought for a while, and then walked to the 3 little white tiger cubs, which had yet to open their eyes. He picked up 2 of them, came in front of Lung Ruoxue, and placed the little tiger cubs in his mouth in front of her. Please take care of my children, the male white tiger said, feeling reluctant to part with them. Does this white tiger want his children to become spirit beasts for Ruoxue? Feng Aoran and Xiaohua were dumbfounded. Is this the legendary moral character of a person? Even after exhausting themselves working hard, others might not be able to obtain a spirit beast with good aptitude. But now, this holy beast actually took the initiative to deliver his children to her door. They were children of holy beasts, so their natural aptitude would be much better than ordinary spirit beasts. How many people would dream of having them? Are you willing to part with them? Lung Ruoxue asked thoughtfully. You saved our entire family. I have nothing to repay you with, the male white tiger said honestly. Spirit beasts knew to repay favors. But I can't bear to see your family separate, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. What does Miss mean? Don't tell me she wants to capture this entire white tiger family in one fell swoop. Feng Da and the others couldn't help quipping in their minds. Why don't your whole family come with me? My home is big, and I can afford to raise you all, Lung Ruoxue said without blushing or skipping a beat, wearing an expression that said she was doing this for your own good. We were right. Fengde and the others were flabbergasted. The male white tiger thought about it and walked to his wife. The two tigers discussed again, and then the male white tiger walked back to Lung Ruoxue. All right, my whole family will go with you, the male white tiger said. After discussing it with his wife, they both felt that this human was not bad, so acknowledging her as their master was acceptable. Miss, you are too charming. Fengde and the others' admiration for their young lady rose to an indescribable height. Even Feng Aoran and Xiaohua were looking at her strangely. Beast trainers would have no jobs if everyone could obtain holy beasts so easily. Lung Ruoxue got the 5 white tigers to enter the heaven and earth bracelet, and then everyone left the misty woods together. After returning home, Lung Ruoxue went straight to the cold tea pavilion. Big brother. Schwer. Lung Ruhan put down his book happily when he saw his sister. Big brother, I have a gift for you. What gift? Lung Ruhan was curious. Lung Ruoxue released the white tiger family from the heaven and earth bracelet. Lung Ruhan looked at the white tigers that occupied his entire room in astonishment. Cloud-patterned white tigers? Where did you get them? Cloud-patterned white tigers were very precious among tiger-type spirit beasts, and they had the highest aptitude. Moreover, from the looks of it, Schwer had clearly brought their entire family here. Lung Ruhan gently picked up a little white tiger that had yet to fully open its eyes. His face was full of love as his big palm gently caressed the soft fur on the little white tiger's body. Lung Ruoxue knew that her brother definitely liked them from his expression. She wanted to give the white tiger children to her brother the moment the male white tiger offered them to her. The beautiful white tigers and her immortal-like brother were a perfect match. Chapter 74. Abducting a Family 2. I'll leave my big brother to you. Lung Ruoxue patted the male white tiger's head. She had already told the white tiger couple the general situation on the way back, hoping that they could protect her brother. The male white tiger nodded his huge head. Even though it was a pity that he couldn't acknowledge Lung Ruoxue as his master, he still had a good impression of this man. As soon as Lung Ruoxue left her brother's room, she saw her grandfather. Schwer, Grandpa thanks you, Lung Qingtian said from outside the door. Grandpa, why are you being so polite with your own granddaughter? Lung Ruoxue deliberately sounded displeased. Grandpa was wrong. Grandpa shouldn't be polite with Schwer, Lung Qingtian quickly coaxed. That's right. Lung Ruoxue dragged her grandfather away and told him about what happened today. Big sister, it's time. The pink little Qingju appeared in the purple bamboo house and reminded her. His big sister went into seclusion the night after returning from the misty woods. Got it. Lung Ruoxue answered and slowly opened her beautiful eyes. Her body was like a bottomless pit. No amount of spiritual energy could satiate her hunger, even though absorbing spiritual energy was faster in the heaven and earth bracelet. Lu Tao. Lung Ruoxue called out softly after exiting the heaven and earth bracelet. Mississippi. Lu Tao opened the door gently and walked in. Is Fengde back? Before she went into seclusion, she had already told Fengde to pick her up this morning. Not yet, Lu Tao replied. Okay. Where are the others? Having breakfast in the front hall. Lung Ruoxue nodded, washed up, and went to the front hall with Lu Tao. Why hasn't Miss come out yet? I'm out. Lung Ruoxue and Lu Tao heard Lin Yuan muttering to himself just as they entered the front hall. Schwer, come and have breakfast, Lung Qingtian said happily when he saw his granddaughter. Okay. Lung Ruoxue sat down in the empty seat next to her grandfather. Fengde returned after breakfast. Miss, everyone is here. They're in the garden. Fengde said directly when he walked into the front hall and saw Lung Ruoxue. Then let's go to the garden. Lung Ruoxue stood up and walked out with everyone. From now on until the selection competition, we won't be training in the academy. I'll divide you into 2 teams and bring you to the illusionary forest for training. Lung Ruoxue explained to the puzzled-looking students in front of her. The illusionary forest. That place is very dangerous. The expressions of some timid students changed when Lung Ruoxue mentioned the illusionary forest. If anyone is afraid and doesn't want to go, you can let me know, Lung Ruoxue added after seeing their reactions. Everyone had their own aspirations, and she didn't want to impose on others. The students looked at each other and their hearts gradually became firm. In fact, they also knew that they shouldn't be timid and afraid of trouble if they wanted to become strong. Since no one is backing out, you must absolutely obey your leader's arrangements when you are there. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences yourself. Lung Ruoxua warned. She didn't need students who didn't follow orders. Yes, everyone answered in unison. Your leaders are Feng Moran and me. Those whose names are called follow me. The others follow Feng Moran. Lung Ruoxua said, and motioned for Lin Yuan to start calling out names. Lin Yuan took out the name list of prearranged teams and started reading it. Xiao Hua, Xiao Ting. After sorting the teams, Lung Ruoxua let Quill out. After appearing, Quill immediately enlarged himself, and the giant black eagle instantly occupied nearly the entire garden. Grandpa, Big Brother, we're leaving, Lung Ruoxua said when she saw that everyone was seated on Quill's back. Okay, get going. Be careful. Lung Qingtian couldn't help reminding her. Swear, Big Brother will miss you. Lung Ruhan felt slightly reluctant to part. Quill, let's go. Lung Ruoxua patted his head helplessly. Ah, Grandpa, Big Brother, don't make it so sad. Lung Qingtian and his grandson watched as Quill flew farther and farther away. They only returned to their rooms reluctantly when they could no longer see him. After Quill became a level 9 holy beast, his flying speed was nearly twice as fast as before, and they arrived at the illusionary forest a few hours later. After entering the illusionary forest, they didn't walk far before they reached a fork in the road. Big Brother Fengda, let's split up and gather here 10 days later, Lung Ruoxua said to the two of them. Fengda's team were all members of the Blazing Flame mercenary group, so she had nothing to worry about. Then she led her team down the right path. Let's camp here today. After walking for a while, Lung Ruoxua stopped and looked at the open space in front of her. She had stayed here for a few days before and knew that it was very safe. Okay. Yichen was also very satisfied with this place. Since they couldn't do much today, it was better to rest early so that they could adapt to the environment here. Quill and I will go break through, Lung Ruoxua said quietly to Yichen. All right. Yichen nodded. Quill carried Lung Ruoxua to the place where he used to live. It was inside a giant tree, and a different world after they entered. There was a wide cave connected to the tree and a hot spring inside. Quill, this place isn't bad, Lung Ruoxua exclaimed. It's okay. Quill scratched his head with his wings shyly. Let's begin, Lung Ruoxua said after looking around Quill's former home. She had been storing her spiritual power diligently since Quill advanced to level 9 holy beast. Otherwise she would not have advanced so quickly. Quill nodded and threw a green spirit pill into his mouth. Then he half laid on the ground and waited to advance. After about an hour, the spiritual power in Quill's body finally broke through the threshold. Quill successfully advanced to divine beast with the descent of heaven and earth laws. Master, Quill, who had transformed into a human, called out happily. Not bad. Lung Ruoxua looked at Quill's human form with satisfaction. Another handsome and beautiful man with black hair, black eyes, and a cold temperament. Even though he wasn't as alluring as Charm, he was beautiful enough for human aesthetics. But the benefits that Quill brought her due to advancing to divine beast didn't allow her to break through. She only had a lot more spiritual power in her body. Alas, since I cultivated the heaven-defying art, my body has become a bottomless pit that no amount of spiritual power can fill. Chapter 75. Bringing the team to the illusionary forest after Quill advanced Lung Ruoxua, and he returned to their campsite. You're back. Yichen welcomed Shuer and Quill. Is everything okay? Lung Ruoxua asked worriedly. These students were inexperienced. No issues. I got Xiao Hua to bring them hunting, Yichen explained. Leader. As they spoke, they saw Xiao Hua leading a group of people back with a lot of game in their hands. Seems like your harvest was good. Lung Ruoxua looked at them appreciatively. This should be the safest place in the illusionary forest. As long as they didn't venture farther, they wouldn't encounter any danger. It's okay, Xiao Hua said modestly, but his face was full of pride. After dinner, have an early rest. We start the devil training tomorrow, Lung Ruoxua said seriously. Leader, what is devil training? Xiaohua asked curiously. The others also looked at Lung Ruoxue in confusion, their eyes obviously yearning to know. You'll know then. Lung Ruoxue smiled mysteriously, not planning to tell them now. At the camp of Feng Moran's team. Elder brother, I can't take it anymore. Let's rest for a while. Feng Aoran pleaded while panting. The others were also so tired that they directly collapsed on the ground. You can't take it anymore? The training I received back then was twice as much what you've received. Feng Moran looked at the students lying on the ground, unwilling to get up with some contempt. The training intensity of his team was not very high. He believed that the training in Schwer's team would definitely be similar to theirs. No way. How can Ruoxue be so terrifying? Where did she come up with these methods? Feng Aoran asked fearfully. He was a spiritualist, not a martial artist. Why did he wake up early every morning to run and train his stamina? He could run in normal circumstances, but he had to run while carrying dozens of kilograms of weights on his legs every day. No, to be precise, it was a dozen kilograms on the first day, and it increased every day. It was already the third day, and the weight on his legs added up to nearly 50 kilograms. Boo-hoo! Schwer said that you have poor stamina, so you have to get up early to train your stamina first. There will be actual combat later. Feng Moran reminded very kindly. If you can't take this bit of physical training, what about actual combat? Actual combat? Kill me. Feng Aoran lay on the grass like a dead fish. He had been training his physical strength almost every day for the past 3 days. His whole body was aching every day, so how could he have the strength to fight? What is that sound? Feng Aoran pricked up his ears cautiously. He seemed to have heard some rumbling. Is there a sound? Why didn't I hear it? Feng Moran pretended to be confused. Oh, go take a look. A boy volunteered. Leader, it's a group of spirit beasts. The boy ran back in panic, his face pale, obviously scared out of his wits. Elder brother, what should we do? Feng Aoran asked anxiously. The spirit beasts in the illusionary forest weren't easy to deal with. What can we do? Fight, of course. You're all spiritual monarchs, so surely you won't be so cowardly? Feng Moran deliberately provoked them. Schwer is right. True powerhouses are tempered through battles. Final fight. Feng Aoran was unwilling to admit defeat. He was already much weaker than his brother in terms of strength, so he couldn't lose in terms of his imposing manner. As soon as Feng Aoran finished speaking, the spirit beasts appeared in front of them. Feng Aoran and the others quickly dragged their aching bodies to get up and fight. Elder brother, why aren't you helping? Feng Aoran happened to see his brother leisurely eating grilled meat while he was fighting 2 spirit beasts. His brother didn't seem to have any intention of helping. Moreover, the spirit beasts, which bullied the weak and feared the strong, didn't dare to attack his brother at all. Feng Aoran was so angry, he attacked even more ruthlessly, taking one down and then another. But as he finished off the 2 spirit beasts, 2 more spirit beasts came to surround him. If you can't even deal with these spirit beasts, do you still want to participate in the academy competition? Feng Moran said disdainfully. This was only the beginning. Let them adapt first. There would be more spirit beasts in the future. Feng Moran's words greatly agitated these hot-blooded youths and aroused their fighting spirit as well. Soon, they wiped out this group of spirit beasts. But before they could even catch their breath, they heard another series of rumbles. Heavens, is it another group of spirit beasts? Their guess was right. Another group of spirit beasts arrived after the previous group. And this time, the level of these spirit beasts was obviously much higher than the previous one. Kill! Feng Aoran roared and charged forward as the vanguard. Days passed with constant fighting. In General Lung's mansion. Old man Lin, why are you here? Lung Qingtian looked at his old friend in surprise. This old man hadn't been here for several days. Do you know where Ruoxue went? Lin Liang asked directly. Tomorrow was the selection competition, but Ruoxue and the others weren't back yet. Didn't Ruoxue bring those students out for training? I heard that the academy doesn't have a place for them to train. Lung Qingtian said slightly teasingly. In fact, if it weren't for the sake of his old friend, he really wanted to say that he was too useless as the principal. Lin Liang didn't expect the students of the Supreme Hall to be so overbearing. But he also didn't expect Wuxia to leave the school with the students from the Sacred Hall either. He originally thought that Schwer didn't take the people from the Supreme Hall seriously. In fact, his guess was right. Lung Wuxia really didn't take the clowns from the Supreme Hall seriously. The reason she brought the Sacred Hall students out to train was mainly that she felt they were too weak. Moreover, going to the forest to experience tests of life and death was much better than simulating training in the academy's training room. There's no rush. They will be back when it's time. Lung Qingtian comforted his old friend. Lin Liang sighed. He could only wait. 10 days later, at night. Chapter 76. Everyone in the Sacred Hall forfeited? Lung Wuxia and the others stood at the fork in the illusionary forest. Not long later, Feng Das and Feng Moran's teams emerged one after another. Everyone was injured, their clothes tattered and disheveled, but they seemed to be in high spirits. "Miss, we're here!" Feng Da shouted excitedly when he saw Lung Wuxia. Okay. She was still very relaxed when it came to Feng Da. Big brother Feng. Did everything go smoothly? Lung Wuxia asked with concern. It went smoothly. Feng Moran looked at his disheveled team and smiled. These sheltered students have been exhausted over the past 10 days. That's good. Although you guys are very tired now, you will know the benefits in the future. Lung Wuxia looked at the pairs of slightly resentful eyes and comforted them. Hey, you're still alive. Feng Aoran pulled Xiaohua aside. Stinky brat, are you looking for a beating? I'm alive and well. Xiaohua said discontentedly while glaring at Feng Aoran. How can you say that? I'm full of energy. No, that's not what I meant. I wanted to ask how your devil training went. Feng Aoran was very curious. Their team hadn't had a good night's sleep for the past 10 days. Sometimes, spirit beasts would attack them in the middle of the night. If they were slow to react and were injured, they could only blame their bad luck. Elder brother didn't care at all. His standards were very low, and it was fine as long as they didn't die. Wah! How evil! I don't know how to describe it. Xiaohua hesitated. After some thought he added, 1 word miserable. 2 words very miserable. 3 words very very miserable. Did you encounter any beast groups? Feng Aoran asked curiously. There were a lot, Xiaohua said unnaturally. Thinking about the wave after waves of spirit beasts made him want to cry. Whoa whoa. How many waves a day? I lost count. About once every 2 to 3 hours on average. Feng Aoran was at a loss for words. Elder brother was right. The other team was indeed more miserable than us. Boo-hoo. They were still considered lucky now that he thought about it. Elder brother is so kind. Are you two done chatting? We're going back. Lung Wuxia shouted while sitting on Quill's back. Everyone else had already sat down except the 2 of them. Okay, we're coming. The 2 of them were a little embarrassed seeing so many eyes looking at them. They hurriedly sat on Quill's back. Let's go, Lung Wuxia ordered. Quill flew into the air in the direction of Phoenix City. The competition field of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy was already full of students who came to spectate. All the pre-competition work was ready. Now they were just waiting to watch the matches. Principal, is the competition starting now? Chen Jian asked on the stage. It would be better if those people don't come back. It's not time yet. What's the hurry? Lin Liang said expressionlessly and calmly, but he was very nervous in his heart. Why isn't that girl back yet? Then we'll wait for the last 10 minutes. If they still don't appear, we'll treat it as if they've forfeited. Chen Jian said gloatingly. Okay. Time passed by 1 minute at a time. Principal, it's the last minute, Chen Jian reminded him after looking at the time. Lin Liang glared at Chen Jian. The words "I don't need you to remind me" clearly written on his face. He kept muttering in his heart, "Come back quickly. Come back quickly." Seeing that there were only a few seconds left, Chen Jian rushed to announce. Everyone from the Sacred Hall forfeits. The competition begins now. Just as he finished speaking, a giant black eagle descended from the sky, taking up most of the square. And sitting on the eagle were the people from the Sacred Hall, who said we're forfeiting. The time is just right, Lung Wuxia said mockingly as she looked at the timer. That's right. Who said we're forfeiting? Feng Da chimed in. That's right. We didn't forfeit. There's still 1 second to go. A youth on the eagle said. Hey, do you see that? That eagle seems to be a holy beast, a flying holy beast. Someone shouted from the crowd below. Everyone's eyes instantly turned to Quill. Lin Liang looked at the black eagle with a burning gaze. Holy beast. That eagle isn't a holy beast. It's obviously a divine beast. But this eagle was deliberately restraining its might, which was why the others mistook it for a holy beast. But it couldn't hide from him. This girl really surprised him. Okay, quiet down. I hereby announce that the competition has officially begun. Lin Liang said resolutely. This girl is really too bad. She only appeared at the last second. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy was divided into 4 divisions: Spiritualist, Alchemist, Artificer, and Beast Trainer. The Spiritualist divisions were divided into elementary classes, intermediate classes, advanced classes, and the Sacred Hall. And there was an additional Supreme Hall now. The selection competition this time was mainly a competition between spiritualists where students at Spiritual Monarch and above could participate. The top 30 students would qualify to represent the Heavenly Phoenix Academy in the Academy competition, held once every 3 years on the Lingfeng continent. The Alchemist, Artificer, and Beast Trainer divisions would choose 1 representative each to participate in the Academy competition. There were around 150 students participating in the selection competition this time, and the duration of the competition was 3 days. The rules of the competition were 2-on-2 battles, with the winners entering the next round, and the losers still having 2-on-2 battles. Then the winners would also enter the next round, and the losers would be completely eliminated. The reason for this arrangement was to give everyone another chance, and to choose the best talents to represent the Academy in the Academy competition. There were a total of 10 arenas on the competition field. After the host announced the rules, and said some words of encouragement, the students who registered for the competition went on stage according to the number plates given to them beforehand. After the first round of preliminaries, a total of 110 students successfully advanced to the next round. After a 2-hour break, the second round of the preliminaries officially began. Students, the second round of the competition is now underway. You're getting closer and closer to the top 30. Do your best. The host gave the stage to the contestants after speaking. Wow, Senior Brother Yi is so handsome, a love-struck girl shouted in the audience. Chapter 77. Who said we're forfeiting? After the start of the second round, Yi Chun, who was the first to go on stage, was like a shining beacon, attracting everyone's attention and stealing the limelight. Feeling the craziness of the love-struck women, Lung Ruoxua couldn't help being a little speechless. There were clearly 20 people competing in the 10 arenas, but the others were all blatantly ignored. Congratulations! Everyone from the Sacred Hall has entered the next round, Fu Mingyuan said in a friendly manner as he walked over, displaying his gentlemanly demeanor. What's there to congratulate? It's just the first round. If they can't even pass this, they don't deserve to stay in the Sacred Hall. Lung Ruoxua, who was sitting on the side watching the competition attentively, said disapprovingly. Hey, why are you so rude? Senior Brother Fu came to congratulate you out of goodwill. What's with your attitude? A female fan of Senior Brother Fu immediately complained, feeling outraged. Did I ask him to come? Lung Ruoxua said with a sneer. She would never be friends with the Fu family. In that case, why bother wasting her time and effort entertaining an irrelevant person? How can a simpleton know any manners? Why bother with her? Chen Fong said mockingly while walking over. Well said. Not only do I, a simpleton, not know any manners, but I also like to hit people when I'm mad. Lung Ruoxua said with a smile that was not a smile. After the match just now, there seemed to be more women looking for trouble with her. I won't hold it against a barbaric woman, Chen Fong said angrily, and walked away unwillingly. She knew that Fu Mingzhu was beaten up by Lung Ruoxua, and had her face scratched by her spirit beast, so she was really a little scared. What's the matter? Yi Chun, who had finished his second round, got off the stage and walked to Lung Ruoxia's side. It's okay. Just a few clowns. It's my turn. Lung Ruoxua walked onto the arena calmly. Her opponent was actually Sun Ting from the Supreme Hall. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help laughing softly when she saw Sun Ting staring at her with jealousy and hatred. She heard that Sun Ting was injured after the freak threw her out of the window. She didn't expect her to recover so quickly. "You simpleton, what are you laughing at?" Sun Ting said in anger. "What? Are the people from the Supreme Hall so overbearing that they don't allow others to laugh? Moreover, you keep saying that I'm a simpleton. Then what are you, who is about to be defeated by a simpleton?" Lung Ruoxue deliberately provoked. "I won't lose," Sun Ting said confidently. For this selection competition, she had a secret weapon that she didn't want to take out so early. But she didn't mind exposing it in advance to teach this simpleton a lesson. A long black whip appeared in Sun Ting's hand. The body of the whip was pitch black, and it faintly carried a fierce aura, as though a black dragon was roving around. Her whip immediately attracted everyone's attention. "It's a sacred artifact," someone shouted as soon as the whip appeared. "This is the Dragon Roar Whip," Lin Liang exclaimed in surprise. He didn't expect Sun Ting to take out her family heirloom. It seems Sun Ting is determined to win this match. The Sun family has really put in a lot of effort. I wonder if Ruoxue can handle it? A sacred artifact? The Sun family is only a medium-sized family, but they actually have a sacred artifact in their possession. Why has no one snatched it? Lung Ruoxue thought in her mind some evil intentions. What she didn't know was that many people had designs on this whip in the past. But the genius ancestor of the Sun family, who refined this whip, had integrated the bloodline of the Sun family into it. Except for those who had the blood of the Sun family, no one else could use it. So this whip had been handed down generation after generation. "Lung Ruoxue, you're dead meat," Sun Ting said through gritted teeth. She infused her spiritual power into the whip and swung it fiercely at Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue turned her body slightly, and the whip brushed past her. She looked at Sun Ting provocatively. "It's my turn now." A sword appeared in Lung Ruoxue's hand. The blade was thin and transparent like crystal, and was constantly releasing fierce cold air. Lin Liang's pupils constricted. This girl also has a sacred artifact in her hands, and its grade is clearly higher than the Dragon Roar Whip. He could already feel the Dragon Roar Whip trembling slightly. It seemed like his worries were in vain. "Behold my flame feather." Lung Ruoxue infused fire attribute spiritual power into the sword, raised her wrist, and released the flame feather along the tip of her sword. It shot at Sun Ting like a burning feather. Sun Ting dodged the exquisite and cute flame feather, shooting at her easily with a few slick moves. "Is this all that your flame feather can do?" Sun Ting mocked. "You'll know when you try," Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. This was the first time she was using the improved flame feather. Although it was only an advanced spiritual skill, its might was not inferior to a heavenly spiritual skill. Whoever dared to look down on this small feather would be dead for sure. "Ah, how is this possible?" Not long after Sun Ting gloated, she saw the small feather she dodged turn back toward her, and splitting into two. Then two became four. 4 became 8, multiplying endlessly. She wanted to dodge but couldn't, and numerous small feathers even burned her body. Although the sparks were small, they were very painful. The small and cute feathers also entangled her whip. Before long, the whip actually burned into ashes, and Sun Ting fainted from the pain. Everyone watched this scene with their mouths agape. When did this flame feather become so powerful? Even a sacred artifact was burned to ashes. Heavens, it's really too terrifying. That was a sacred artifact. If all these flames had burned her body, Sun Ting probably wouldn't have just simply fainted. Lin Liang looked at Lung Ruoxue speechlessly. "Lass, can you not cause such a stir? Can't you keep a low profile? Did I win?" Lung Ruoxue looked at the dumbfounded referee. You won," the referee said hurriedly after recovering from the shock. His forehead was covered in cold sweat, because he had personally felt the power of the small flames just now. It was really too terrifying, and he still had lingering fears. Chapter 78. New Rules of the Selection Competition. 1. Lung Ruoxue didn't care about the way everyone was looking at her, as if they saw a monster, as she walked off the stage calmly to rest. "Miss, why don't you just burn that annoying Sun Ting to death?" Feng De couldn't help asking. Students should care for and love one another. How can you be so cruel to your own classmate? Lung Ruoxue said very kindly, while giving Fengde a knock on the head. Miss is right to lecture me, Fengde said with a dark face. When did Miss become a saint? But for some people, letting them live is more painful than death, Lung Ruoxue added. Miss is wise, Fengde said flatteringly. This is the Miss I know. When has our Shuer not been wise? Yichen walked over with a plate of fruits. You must be tired. Here, have some fruit and let husband give you a massage, Yichen said considerately. This is the best time to take advantage. So exciting. Lung Ruoxue's face darkened. This freak. Big brother Yi. A gentle voice suddenly sounded in their ears, just as Yi Chun was trying to take advantage of her by massaging her. Lung Ruoxue raised her head slightly, and saw that Su Nair had appeared in front of them without them noticing. This woman actually came here while the seventh prince was competing on stage, and she even addressed him as Big Brother Yi. Lung Ruoxue felt her hair stand on end when she heard this sappy address. Please don't call me Big Brother Yi. You don't have the right, Yichen said with displeasure. Why does the way this woman look at me make me want to beat her up so badly? Our families have been friends for a long time, Su Nair said aggrievedly. Tears flashed in her beautiful eyes, making her look pitiful. I'm sorry. The Yi family you mentioned has nothing to do with me. What he implied was that she shouldn't try to claim connections with him. Let's go back, Big Brother Yi, Lung Ruoxue said when she saw that everyone from the sacred hall had finished competing. She even deliberately emphasized the words Big Brother Yi. No, freak still feels more suitable. Okay, let's go back early and rest early, Yichen said suggestively. Why does Shuer's Big Brother Yi sound so nice? He couldn't help feeling elated thinking about it. The two of them ignored Su Nair and left. Jealousy gnawing at heart, Su Nair looked at their backs with resentful eyes. I don't believe that I'm inferior to a simpleton. There's no man in this world that I can't have. I won't let that simpleton go. The two of them rode on Quill, and soon returned to the general's mansion. Shuer, why are you two back so early? Isn't it the selection competition today? Where are Fengde and the others? Lung Qingtian asked curiously when he saw his granddaughter. Our matches were over, so we came back early. Fengde and the others are still watching the liveliness, Lung Ruoxue explained. What were the results? Lung Qingtian asked. His granddaughter only asked Charm to tell him that she had left for the competition without even returning home. There's not much suspense for the first two rounds. About 2/3 of the people from the Sacred Hall will enter the next round. That's already very impressive. Okay, Grandpa, I'm tired. I'm going back to my room to sleep. Okay, go ahead. Lung Qingtian knew that his granddaughter must be exhausted from the past few days. Freak, go back to your room and sleep too, Lung Ruoxue said to Yi Chen when they arrived at the Listening Snow Pavilion. Shuer, you called me Big Brother Yi just now, Yi Chen reminded her. You damn freak, quickly go to sleep, Lung Ruoxue roared, and went straight to her room. Say, Big Brother Yi again? You might as well kill me. Standing foolishly in the yard, Yi Chen watched as Shuer entered her room. Shuer's nicknames are always so different, but I like it. On the second day of the selection competition, Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at the competition venue early. But after entering the venue, they found that the number of spectators today seemed to be much more than yesterday. Moreover, all of them were brimming with enthusiasm, and the atmosphere was rather fiery. After yesterday's matches, a total of 83 students entered the third round of the preliminaries. Today is the last day of the preliminaries, so today's matches will be more intense. Everyone do your best. The host encouraged as usual before the official competition. Shuer, 60 students from our sacred hall entered the third round yesterday, Feng Moran said happily. That's normal. How could they not defeat the sheltered students after spending 10 days in the dangerous illusionary forest? Moreover, she didn't want them to be satisfied with just entering the third round. Lung Ruoxue's match today was relatively easy, but as soon as she entered the stage, her opponent admitted defeat. She couldn't help but be a little speechless. Am I that scary? Today was the last round of the preliminaries. The battle should have been very intense, but it was just the opposite. Especially for the students of the Sacred Hall, They often determine victory or defeat with a single move. And if both competitors were from the Sacred Hall, it usually only took a few seconds to decide the outcome, because there would always be someone admitting defeat. This made the referee very speechless. After the third round finished, a total of 50 students entered the final round, of which only 5 were from the Supreme Hall, while the rest were from the Sacred Hall. Even though the entire selection competition had not officially ended, it was already obvious that the Sacred Hall would win by a landslide. Congratulations! Fu Mingyuan walked over again. Although the results of the competition made him a little depressed, he still walked over to congratulate them in a gentlemanly manner. Thank you. I heard that the rules will change in the final round. I hope to have the chance to compete with you, Lung Ruoxua said politely. She was very satisfied with today's results. I'm looking forward to it too. On the third day of the selection competition, because it was the Academy's internal selection competition, everyone here to watch was a student of the Academy, and it was also the largest audience in the 3 days. Dear students, the selection competition is becoming more and more intense. We will know who is qualified to represent our Academy, to participate in the Academy competition after today. Let us wait and see, the host said, trying to stir up emotions in addition to his usual encouragement. Chapter 79. New Rules of the Selection Competition, 2. Today's matches will adopt the format of challenges. You can advance as long as you defeat 5 people, no matter if you are the challenger or the challenged. Similarly, those who fail 5 times will lose their qualifications. The host explained the rules of today's competition. What does that mean? Feng Morin was puzzled. It means that we have a chance to chase everyone from the Supreme Hall out of the top 30, Lung Ruoxua said indifferently. Lung Ruoxia's words made everyone's blood boil with excitement. Next, let us welcome our first challenger. Xiaoting, come here. Lung Ruoxua whispered a few words in Xiaoting's ears, since he was the first to go on stage. Then Xiaoting walked to the center of the stage confidently. The first person I want to challenge is senior sister Chen Fong, Xiaoting said calmly. Don't regret it, Chen Fong said disdainfully. How dare this poor boy challenge me? Senior sister, please. Xiaoting smiled. Chen Fong took the lead to swing her sword at Xiaoting, and the water attribute spiritual power in her sword rushed toward Xiaoting. Xiaoting smiled calmly, and gently blocked Chen Fang's attack with the earth element spiritual skill in his hand. Then he turned his hand, and gently released an advanced water element spiritual skill at Chen Fang. Chen Fang couldn't dodge in time, and was hit directly. Chen Fang swallowed the blood in her mouth, and looked at Xiaoting defiantly. No, that's impossible. I am among the top 10 in the Academy. How can I be defeated by an unknown poor boy with one move? I still have my spirit beast, Chen Fang said forcefully. She didn't intend to admit defeat, and summoned her spirit beast, a level 1 holy beast, a Babel long-armed ape. In fact, spirit beasts were not allowed in either the Academy's selection competition or the Academy competition. This was for the sake of fairness, and also to protect the safety of students. After all, even if the students who could participate in the Academy competition were not geniuses, they were elites of prominent families. It would be very troublesome if there was really an accident, and Chen Fang's use of her spirit beasts had obviously violated the rules of the competition. Lung Ruoxua stood below the stage, her beautiful eyes glancing indifferently at the referee who ignored the violations. Fortunately, she had prepared. Otherwise, spirit beast? I have one too. Xiaoting smiled elegantly and summoned his spirit beast, a level 5 holy beast, a lightning leopard. The leader had even helped him contract this holy beast. Chen Fang was dumbfounded. This is impossible. How is this possible? How can this poor guy's spirit beast be better than mine? Senior sister, do you still want to compete? Xiaoting smiled confidently. The bright smile on his face was a sharp contrast to Chen Fang's dejection. I admit defeat. Chen Fang was stunned for a long time. In the end, she had to admit defeat. She knew that she had lost too much dignity this time. In addition to Fu Mingyuan and Chen Fang, Liu Sunayer and Wang Wei from the Supreme Hall also entered the finals. After Xiaoting challenged Chen Fang, he challenged Liu Sunayer. and Wang Wei in succession. He also challenged the weakest student from the Sacred Hall. After defeating them, he was the first to enter the top 30. Thereafter, the students from the Sacred Hall went on stage consecutively, challenged their opponents according to Lung Ruoxia's plan, and successfully entered the top 30. After losing 5 times in a row, Wang Wei was the first to be eliminated. He didn't even have the chance to challenge anyone. Immediately afterward, Su Nair and Li Yu were eliminated. Only Fu Mingyuan and Chen Feng remained from the Supreme Hall. Fu Mingyuan survived because no one had challenged him yet, and Chen Feng was facing elimination at any time since she had lost 4 times already. Seeing this situation, even a fool understood. But even if they understood, there was nothing they could do, because Fu Mingyuan's and Chen Feng's appearance numbers were at the back. They had no chance to challenge anyone, so they could only watch as the people from the Supreme Hall were eliminated one by one. Principal, this competition isn't fair. Chen Jian stood up from his seat angrily and said anxiously, "How is it not fair?" Lin Liang pretended to be puzzled. This girl is really ruthless. Seems like she doesn't plan on letting anyone from the Supreme Hall obtain a quota. The rules of the competition are unfair. Some students don't even have a chance to challenge others. How can they be eliminated just like that? Chen Jian said angrily. Vice Principal, are you referring to the students from the Supreme Hall? Elder Chiu asked with a smile. Vice Principal Chen, you were very supportive of this rule at first, and now you're saying that it's unfair. How can you convince the students if you go back on your word like this? Lin Liang scolded. He knew that Chen Jian was willing to agree to this rule, because he believed in the strength of the students from the Supreme Hall. But the current situation was contrary to his expectations, causing his anxiety. But it was too late now. After Chen Feng was swept out of the competition, Fu Mingyuan was the only one left from the entire Supreme Hall. His heart in knots, Fu Mingyuan looked at the stunningly beautiful girl with a complicated expression. Was she really a simpleton before? Or was she pretending from the start? He had many doubts. But he knew very well that their Supreme Hall had suffered a crushing defeat in this competition. Feng Moran, Mu Li Yichen, and Feng De went on stage one after another and challenged Fu Mingyuan. They won 4 consecutive matches, and successfully entered the top 30. I want to challenge Lung Ruoxia, Fu Mingyuan said. It was finally his turn to go on stage. He had lost 4 times, and there happened to be 5 people on stage including him. But there was only one spot. Fu Mingyuan knew very well that Lung Ruoxia was his biggest opponent among the 5, so only by defeating Lung Ruoxia could he have a chance to enter the top 30. I accept the challenge. Lung Ruoxia walked directly to the center of the stage. She had deliberately brought about this result. Otherwise, Fu Mingyuan would not have stayed until the end. Lung Ruoxia looked at her opponent, Fu Mingyuan, one of the 3 great geniuses of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, whose strength was on par with Feng Aoran's. He was an advanced spiritual monarch, and one of her brother's few friends. Unfortunately, because of Fu Mingzhu, they would never become friends. Chapter 80. Leaving for the Southern Dusk Empire 1. After you, Fu Mingyuan said. As a man, he should be gracious to women. Then I won't hold back. Of course, she didn't need to use her full strength against Fu Mingyuan. What she valued more was combat experience, and fighting against people and spirit beasts was totally different. Lung Ruoxia raised her sword and lightly swung it. A sharp white sword beam flew toward Fu Mingyuan. The sword beam was extremely fast, and its momentum was majestic, causing the pressure on him to double. Fu Mingyuan was shocked and didn't dodge in time. A cut appeared on his arm. He didn't expect the sword beam to be so fierce. If spiritual power had been infused into this sword beam, his arm would have probably been crippled. At this point, he couldn't help but be on full alert. Now, he already listed Lung Ruoxia as his most dangerous opponent, and this aroused his intense fighting spirit. Fu Mingyuan was good at using sabers, and the saber in his hand was considered a family heirloom of the Fu family. The saber was light and sharp, not very wide, and the handle was about the length of 2 adult palms. With the hand holding his saber, Fu Mingyuan lightly raised his wrist and unleashed a saber technique to shoot powerful water attribute spiritual power at Lung Ruoxia. Lung Ruoxue raised her sword and gently blocked it. An enormous amount of spiritual power neutralized Fu Mingjiwan's spiritual power. Then she turned her hand and added some fire attribute spiritual power into her sword move. A dazzling red beam stabbed at Fu Mingyuan, who quickly dodged it. In this way, the two of them fought for dozens of rounds. Lung Ruoxue was relaxed throughout, but Fu Mingyuan found it more and more strenuous to fight. I lost. Fu Mingyuan took the initiative to admit defeat. He knew very well that Lung Ruoxue hadn't used her full strength. Afterward, the remaining 4 people on the stage also admitted defeat, and Lung Ruoxue successfully entered the top 30. After entering the top 30, there was supposed to be a ranking competition according to the Academy's arrangement. But all 30 students, including Lung Ruoxue, forfeited, so the ranking competition was cancelled. Chen Jian had no chance to do anything even if he wanted to. Lin Liang looked at the final result with satisfaction and was elated. This is great. As soon as the selection competition was over, the anxious Lin Liang dragged Lung Ruoxue to the principal's office. Ruoxue, tell Grandpa Lin. How did you train them? Lin Liang asked curiously. From the moment these students returned, he could tell that they were different from before. They had more aggressiveness, and he already saw the imposing manner of powerhouses from them. This was something that the students in the academy didn't have. He didn't ask earlier because they had been competing, and he finally had the chance to ask now that the competition was over. Grandpa Lin, as long as you are willing to throw the students of the academy into the illusionary forest for a month, they will also have such strength and aggressiveness, Lung Ruoxue teased. Lin Liang didn't know whether to laugh or cry as he looked at Lung Ruoxue. This stinky girl said that even though she knows I can't bear to do it. Ruoxue, how about Grandpa Lin hands those students over to you, and you can bring them to the illusionary forest? Lin Liang said cunningly. Hee. You will have to be responsible for their safety if you bring them. I don't want to be a nanny. Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Lin Liang as she cut off his thoughts with a few words. Grandpa Lin, I heard that the academy will have a training exercise in a few days? Lung Ruoxue asked. Yes, the academy arranges a lot of training exercises at this time every year, Lin Liang explained. The people on the list should be going, right? Lung Ruoxue asked. This was what she was more concerned about. Moreover, she had been waiting for an opportunity. She also heard from her grandfather that the Fu family had already obtained crystal honey, so Fu Ming's injury should have healed. Ruoxue. Grandpa Lin, I want everyone on the list to participate in this training exercise. Lung Ruoxue said unquestionably. It's time to settle the score with those people. Okay, I will arrange it, Lin Liang said helplessly. While he didn't know how Ruoxue was going to take revenge on those people, he could guess that they were going to be in trouble. After the selection competition, Lung Ruoxue gave the people from the sacred hall a 5-day break. After 5 days, they would set off for Lunar Capital, the capital of the Southern Dusk Empire, to participate in the academy competition. Thus, Lung Ruoxue had to finish what she wanted to do before leaving. Taking advantage of the dark and windy night, 2 humans and 2 beasts sneaked into a luxurious mansion. Quill, scout the way for us, Lung Ruoxue ordered. Yes. Schwer, are we here on a date? Yi Chen's eyes were glittering as he asked with anticipation. Would you go to other people's houses for a date? Lung Ruoxue glared at the freak and asked rhetorically. Then why are we here? Yi Chen asked innocently. His beautiful face was full of confusion, and his bright black eyes were as clear as water. Of course, to do something bad since we're sneaking into someone's house in the middle of the night, Lung Ruoxue said without blushing or skipping a beat. Does this damn freak need to be so cute? I really want to pinch him. Schwer, why are you pinching me? Yi Chen looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly, as though he was about to cry. After days of observation, I discovered that Schwer can't resist me when I act like this. So of course I have to do what she likes. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Lung Ruoxue retracted her hand awkwardly. Why didn't my hands listen to me? They actually went on to that freakishly handsome face by themselves. But it felt really good, and his skin is very smooth. I know. You did it on purpose. Yichen said with certainty, his face full of pride. Swear touched me of her own accord. Damn freak. Lung Ruoxia's face darkened in embarrassment. Swear, I will be yours sooner or later. You can touch me however you want, Yichen said very generously with a beaming smile. You, Charm, who had been lying in Lung Ruoxia's arms, couldn't listen anymore. He simply covered his ears with his little paws. This person is really too mushy. Master, I found it. Quill, who went to scout the way, returned and resolved Lung Ruoxia's embarrassment at the right time. Quill, lead the way. Master, come with me. Quill changed to the size of a small bird and flew in front while Lung Ruoxia and Yichen followed closely behind. Chapter 81. Leaving for the Southern Dusk Empire, 2. The 2 humans and 2 beasts knocked out all the guards they encountered and came to a courtyard. Master, it's here. Bang. What's this? It tastes disgusting. Make another one. Miss. Before Lung Ruoxia and the others approached the room, they heard the sound of things being smashed and Fu Mingzhu scolding a maidservant. Then the door opened, and the maidservant walked out. Lung Ruoxia and the others quickly hid in the dark. After the maidservant walked away, Lung Ruoxia immediately pushed open the door of Fu Mingzhu's room and walked in while she set up a barrier at the same time. Why are you back so soon? It's you. Fu Mingzhu looked up only to see Lung Ruoxia. She glared at Lung Ruoxia with intense hatred and jealousy. Miss Fu, do you still remember me? Lung Ruoxia said indifferently as her beautiful eyes stared at Fu Mingzhu's beautiful face. It seems that the crystal honey was effective. There aren't any scars left at all. I do remember you even if you turned to ashes. Fu Mingzhu said resentfully. She had always wanted to seek revenge on this simpleton, but now Lung Ruoxia actually came knocking on her door. Fu Mingzhu absolutely hated Lung Ruoxia, especially after knowing the latter's identity. The discrepancy in her heart was so great that she couldn't accept what happened at all, so it was even harder for her to tolerate Lung Ruoxia's existence. And that stinky fox actually dared to scratch her face. If not for her father trying his best to get her some crystal honey, her beautiful appearance would have been ruined. After I deal with Lung Ruoxia, I'll go deal with that damn fox. I didn't expect to leave such a deep impression on you, Lung Ruoxia said with a light smile. Fu Mingzhu's hatred was written all over her face. Compared with Su Nair, she was far too naive. It was apparent from this that you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. The more delicate a woman looked, the more inconspicuously malicious she would be. Of course, Fu Mingzhu gritted her teeth hatefully. And you actually have the audacity to come to my house. Fu Mingzhu smiled sinisterly as a hint of cunning flashed in her eyes. Since you're here, don't even think about going back. Why not? Is your home a tiger's den? Why can't I come? Lung Ruoxia's face was full of confusion. Yes, of course you can come. But you're going to regret it. At this point, Fu Mingzhu was too busy thinking about how she would take revenge that she never thought about how Lung Ruoxia had gotten in and why she was here. That's good. Lung Ruoxia seemed to be relieved. Guards, there's an assassin. Fu Mingzhu suddenly shouted. Lung Ruoxia was speechless. Fu Mingzhu is so slow-witted. Only now do you realize that you need help. What a disappointing reaction. Take a break. Don't tire yourself out. Lung Ruoxia felt that she was too considerate. You're dead meat. The guards will be here soon, Fu Mingzhu said smugly. Is that so? Shall we see if you're going to die first, or am I going to die first? Lung Ruoxia teased her like a cat chasing a mouse. Why you? Do you even dare to touch me? My father won't let you off, Fu Mingzhu threatened. I really want to try, but it wouldn't be my style if I let you die too easily. Killing the enemy directly was simple, but it was not easy to make the enemy suffer and wish they were dead. She preferred to strike her opponents mentally. What do you want? Fu Mingzhu suddenly felt a little scared. Why aren't they here yet? It's been so long. Don't be scared. I won't kill you, Lung Ruoxia coaxed. I just want to. Lung Ruoxia took out a pill, quickly forced Fu Mingzhu's mouth open, and threw the pill inside. What did you feed me? Fu Mingzhu was shocked. She hurriedly tried to use her fingers to dig out the pill from her throat, but it had dissolved as soon as it entered her mouth. Of course, it's something good for your body. She had specially concocted this pill for Fu Mingzhu, and it had taken her a lot of effort to find the pill formula. Really, although Fu Mingzhu had doubts, her glare gradually died down. Yes, of course, Lung Ruoxue promised. The academy has a training exercise tomorrow. Go early and don't be late, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Okay, I'll be there early, Fu Mingzhu answered obediently as her eyes became gentler and gentler. Good. Go to bed now, Lung Ruoxue reminded her. Okay, I'll sleep now. Fu Mingzhu lay directly on her bed. Seems like the pill is effective. Lung Ruoxue pondered and left the room. Shuer, are you done? Yi Chen quietly asked when he saw Shuer come out. Done. Then where are we going now? Let's go home and sleep. Aren't you going to take a tour of the Prime Minister's mansion? Okay, let's take a look. With that, the 2 humans and 2 beasts began to tour the Prime Minister's mansion, like it were their own backyard. Tisk tsk. A Prime Minister is actually so rich. Look at the furnishings. How much money has he embezzled? Yi Chen commented as he walked. The 5 great families are probably just like this. I've decided, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. What have you decided? Yi Chen looked at Shuer doubtfully. I've decided to seek revenge for the people and rob him. It would be a waste not to rob such a corrupt official. Yes, I like robbing, Yi Chen said excitedly. Robbing was his most enjoyable pastime. Quill, go and find where the Fu family's treasury is. Quill's eagle eyes were much better than radar, and he could even see farther. Master, come with me, Quill said helplessly. After he advanced to Divine Beast, he had obtained the skill, X-ray vision, but his master only used it to look for things. Whoa, Master, don't you think it's overkill? Quill led them to an inconspicuous room. Master, this is the treasury. Are you sure? Why does this room look like a servant's room? Quill nodded. He was certain of it. It's locked. An artificer should have refined this lock, and it couldn't be opened without the password. He'll do it. Yi Chen took out a thin metal wire from who knows where, and poked it into the lock a few times. With a pop, the lock opened. Chapter 82. Leaving for the Southern Dusk Empire 3. This freak actually has this ability. Lung Ruoxue stared at him in astonishment for a few seconds. Shuer, I'll get shy if you keep looking at me like that. Yi Chen's heart was racing as he reminded her. Let's go in. Lung Ruoxue looked away awkwardly. After entering, they discovered that even though the outside of the treasury was inconspicuous, it was a whole different world inside. It seemed that this Prime Minister Fu was quite good at hiding things. There were 3 rooms in the treasury. Lung Ruoxue, Yi Chen and Charm split up, and each of them was responsible for looting 1 room. After looting everything, they quickly left the treasury. Shuer, Prime Minister Fu's study should be in front, right? Yi Chen guessed that they were already in the main courtyard. Probably. The main courtyard isn't guarded? Yi Chen was surprised. Not in the open, but in the dark. Quill and Charm already knocked them out, Lung Ruoxue explained. Oh, in the study, Prime Minister Fu said to a man in black gloomily. Sir, no one in the Supreme Hall made it to the top 30 through the Heavenly Phoenix Academy's selection competition. This has completely messed up our plan. It's okay. Even if they've been selected, they might not have the chance to participate in this competition. The man in black said nonchalantly. Sir, you mean? You don't have to worry about this matter. Just do your part well. The man in black said coldly. Yes. Sir, Lung Ruoxue is General Lung's most beloved granddaughter. Do you think? What's the big deal about General Lung? He's only a person, no matter how powerful he is. How can our patriarch be afraid of him? It's only a matter of time before we deal with him, the black-clothed person said confidently. Damn it. Not only do they want to deal with me, but they also wanted to deal with Grandpa. Fortunately, they came to the right study. Otherwise, she wouldn't have known that people were scheming against her and her family. At this point, Lung Ruoxue, who was hiding in the dark, had a flash of killing intent in her beautiful eyes. Shuer, let's leave first and discuss further, Yi Chen reminded her. Lung Ruoxue nodded. They jumped onto Quill's back and disappeared into the night. After talking to Prime Minister Fu, the man in black left the Prime Minister's mansion. Who are you? The man in black vigilantly asked the two humans and two beasts who suddenly appeared in front of him. He couldn't sense their strength at all. You'll know when you reach hell. A cold voice reached the black-robed man's ears. Aha! A scream resounded in the darkness. Misty woods, the territory of fire rhinoceroses, will they come? Yi Chen asked curiously, while looking at Lung Ruoxue. He and Shuer were here very early to wait for them. Well, no later. Before coming, she had instructed Quill to drug the team. The drug could cause hallucinations. After the previous incident, she knew that they would definitely want to avoid the fire rhinoceroses' territory, but she wanted them to come to her door on their own accord. Moreover, she had sprinkled another drug on the road to the fire rhinoceroses' territory. The two drugs happened to work together and attracted each other, so they had no choice but to come. Lung Ruoxue and Yi Chen waited in the fire rhinoceroses' territory for a while before the people caught in the trap arrived. When they arrived at the fire rhinoceroses' territory, the drug that Lung Ruoxue administered to them just happened to become effective. Why are you here, simpleton? Fu Mingzhu questioned Lung Ruoxue, her eyes full of hatred. Why can't I be here? Lung Ruoxue asked back. It was time for the effects of Fu Mingzhu's drug to wear off, and she had completely forgotten what happened last night. Then there's only the two of you here? A man and a woman alone, how shameless. Fu Mingzhu said disdainfully. Obviously, she had forgotten how she had chased after this man back then. Isn't there still you guys? There are many spirit beasts here as well. Lung Ruoxue said with a spurious smile. Where is this? At this moment, the expression of one of the teachers leading the team changed. Didn't we deliberately avoid the fire rhinoceroses' territory? Why did we come here again? What's the matter? Elder Wang asked in puzzlement. This is the territory of the fire rhinoceroses. Are you sure? Elder Wang asked. Fire rhinoceroses were very barbaric spirit beasts that even spiritual supremacies were unwilling to provoke. Yes, it was this place the last time, a teacher whispered. Leave this place quickly, Elder Wang said decisively. Spirit beasts were all very vengeful. Everyone leave this place immediately, one of the teachers shouted. Leave? It's too late. Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Lung Ruoxue, what do you mean? Elder Wang asked calmly. Elder Wang, haven't you noticed that this place has already been surrounded by fire rhinoceroses? As Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, the fire rhinoceros king led its subordinates swaggering out from behind the trees. It's her. She was the one who stole our fire rhinoceros fruits. The fire rhinoceros king pointed at Fu Mingzhu. It was this damn woman who attracted the jinx to them. So he really hated this woman to death. So it was really you, Lung Ruoxue said coldly. In fact, she had guessed long ago that Fu Mingzhu might be the one who stole the fire rhinoceros fruits and provoked the fire rhinoceroses. Probably no one else had the capability to bribe everyone to give the same false testimony. Me? I didn't, Fu Mingzhu denied guiltily. She would never admit it, even if she died. It doesn't matter whether you admit it or not. What's important is that none of you can leave this place today, Lung Ruoxue said with bloodlust, her eyes full of killing intent. What do you want to do? Elder Wang pretended to be calm. To avenge my elder brother, of course. You, don't be rash. If the academy gets wind of this, it won't let you off, Elder Wang threatened. He didn't know why these fire rhinoceroses listened to Lung Ruoxue, but he could only use the academy to pressure her now. Dead people can't talk, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Who's going to tell me why you falsely accused my brother? Lung Ruoxue looked at the students who were trembling in fear. Chapter 83. Leaving for the Southern Dusk Empire for. What? Is no one willing to clear my doubts? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes looked at everyone present. Can you let me go if I tell you? I was forced as well, Emily said timidly. You don't have the qualifications to negotiate with me, Lung Ruoxue said disdainfully. Let me guess. After Fu Mingzhu angered the fire rhinoceroses, you encountered my brother while running for your lives. My brother saved you but was seriously injured himself. But a certain culprit was afraid that General Lung would know the truth and asked you to provide false testimony. This way, even though he was livid, there was nothing he could do because it was his grandson who caused the trouble, And it wasn't your fault, right? Lung Ruoxue roughly said what she had guessed. Afterward, Chen Jian used this incident as a tool to attack Principal Lin, and my brother became the target of ridicule, Lung Ruoxue added. You're right. Prime Minister Fu forced us to say it this way, one of the teachers said. What did he say to you? Lung Ruoxue asked. He said that we wouldn't be able to escape the blame of the Academy's #1 genius becoming a cripple, General Lung, and the principal wouldn't let us go. So we had to push the blame onto Lung Ruhan. He also said that he would settle the other things. We didn't want to agree at first, but he used our families to threaten us. In fact, he was the one who was most afraid that General Lung and the principal would find trouble, the teacher said. Seeing as you're telling the truth, he'll let you die a quick death. With that, Lung Ruoxue released her spiritual power, and the teacher collapsed onto the ground dead. Are you resentful? Resent Fu Mingzhu if you must. She's the one who harmed you, Lung Ruoxue said coldly to the group of terrified students. Wait, I'm Elder Wang. I didn't participate in what happened that time. Can you let me go? Elder Wang begged without any backbone. What do you think? You must have participated in my brother's downfall. Lung Ruoxue smiled mockingly. If he wasn't Chen Jian's subordinate, he wouldn't have been sent to lead the team today. Fire Rhinoceros King, your chance to atone for your mistakes has arrived. Perform well. Lung Ruoxue couldn't be bothered with them, and glanced at the Fire Rhinoceros King. Attack! The Fire Rhinoceros King ordered. His subordinates swarmed forward. Elder Wang and the others didn't even have the strength to fight back, before they were drowned by nearly 10,000 fire rhinoceroses. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the fire rhinoceroses that were tearing through the forest like a hot knife through butter. Then she threw a pill to the Fire Rhinoceros King, before leaving the forest with Yi Chen. General Lung's mansion, Listening Snow Pavilion Schwer. You will be going to Lunar Capital in a few days. Grandpa prepared these things for you. Take them with you. Lung Qingtian said worriedly as he handed his granddaughter a ring. Grandpa, I don't lack anything. You didn't need to prepare anything. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly as she looked at the things in the ring. Why did Grandpa prepare so much food? Bring them along with you. The journey is quite far. Lung Qingtian said. Phoenix City was quite a distance away from Lunar Capital, and the journey was not very smooth. There were many sections that were very remote, and there was no place to stay at all, much less food. Okay. Lung Ruoxue didn't want her grandfather to worry, since it was a token of his concern. Miss, the academy sent someone over. The principal is looking for you, Feng De said directly as he walked in. Grandpa, I'm going. Get going. After arriving at the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, Lung Ruoxue went straight to the principal's office. Grandpa Lin, what's the matter? Lung Ruoxue asked. Ruoxue, do you know that the students and Elder Wang who went out for training that day haven't returned yet? Lin Liang probed. Yes, I've heard. Grandpa Lin, the forest has always been full of dangers. Isn't it common for teams that go for training to meet some powerful spirit beast and be completely wiped out? There's no need to worry so much. Lung Ruoxue comforted. That's true, Lin Liang said helplessly. This girl is actually playing dumb with me. Ruoxue, I called you here for something important. What? You must get first place in this year's academy competition. Lin Liang said very seriously. Is there something special about this academy competition? Lung Ruoxue guessed. Yes. Have you heard of the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm? Lin Liang asked mysteriously. No. The Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm is a naturally formed treasure land. There are countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures, holy beasts and divine beasts in it. It only appears once every 1,000 years, and only 200 people are allowed to enter each time. The origin of the academy competition is to fight for the spots to enter the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. The academy competition has been continuing, even though the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm opens only once every 1,000 years. It happens to be the 1,000th year this year, so this year's competition is critical. You can obtain 50 spots to enter the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm if you obtain first place, Lin Liang explained. 50 spots. Sounds very attractive, Lung Ruoxue said without much interest. She had the Heaven and Earth bracelet, So this creek of affinity mystic realm wasn't very attractive to her. Of course it's attractive. Do you know how many spiritual supremacies want to obtain a spot? There are many divine beasts inside. If you can contract one, you will be able to do whatever you want on the Lingfeng continent. It is said that there are also precious medicinal herbs and heavenly materials inside that can help people advance to spiritual deity, Lin Liang said with yearning. Once in 1,000 years, but not everyone had such an opportunity. One Grandpa Lin. What benefits will we get if we can come first in this academy competition? Lung Ruoxua asked. She didn't want to give others the chance to benefit. She had always been selfish, so of course she had to benefit herself. If you can obtain first place, then all of the participating students will automatically obtain the qualifications to enter the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm, Lin Liang said. He knew what this girl was thinking, so he explained it to her in advance so that she could have peace of mind. What about the other spots? Lung Ruoxua asked. She didn't want the spots that she worked hard to obtain to benefit the people she hated. Chapter 84. Leaving for the Southern Dusk Empire 5. The Academy will distribute the other spots, Lin Liang said honestly. This was the tradition of the major academies. I want 10 of the remaining spots. The rest can be given to the academy, Lung Ruoxua said. She had to state her conditions first, so that there would not be any disputes later. Okay, I agree, Lin Liang said helplessly. He knew that she would definitely not try her best if he didn't agree. This girl was not Ruhan. She had no sense of belonging to the academy. I will arrange for Elder Chiu to accompany you this time. Thank you, Grandpa Lin. She quite liked Elder Chiu. After talking with Grandpa Lin, Lung Ruoxua returned to the general's mansion without delay. Shuer, what did old man Lin want you for? Lung Qingtian asked hurriedly when he saw his granddaughter return. Nothing. Grandpa, have you heard of the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm? Lung Ruoxua asked. Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm? Is that mystic realm is about to appear again? Lung Qingtian said with a face full of shock. Practically all powerhouses like them knew the legend of the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm. But very few could wait until then. Moreover, the spots to enter the mystic realm had always been in the hands of the major academies, and it was impossible for outsiders to obtain them. Yes, Grandpa Lin told me to get first place at all costs, because first will obtain 50 spots to enter the Creek of Affinity Mystic Realm, Lung Ruoxua explained. Want the competition this time be very intense then? Shuer, you have to be careful. The Lunar Shadow Academy is capable of all sorts of despicable things. The venue for the competition this time is at the Lunar Shadow Academy. I'm sure they will do everything to win, Lung Qingtian said worriedly. Grandpa, don't worry. I'll be careful, Lung Ruoxua comforted. Grandpa, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going to see Big Brother. Go on. When Lung Ruoxua arrived at the cold tea pavilion, she happened to see her brother packing. Big Brother, what are you doing? Lung Ruoxua watched curiously as her brother busied himself, while the white tiger couple lay on the ground, acting lovey-dovey. Packing? Why are you packing? Where's Mingyan? We will be leaving Phoenix City tomorrow. Of course we have to pack, Lung Ruhan said matter-of-factly. Big Brother, don't tell me you want to go to Lunar Capital with me? Yes, I want to go with you. I won't feel at ease if you go alone, Lung Ruhan said. He knew that Shuer had the Heaven and Earth bracelet, so he wanted to go with her. Did you tell Grandpa? Lung Ruoxua asked. Grandpa probably won't agree. Not yet. Don't worry. Grandpa will definitely let me go. I can stay in your space with the entire White Tiger family. Lung Ruhan had planned it all out long ago. Okay, then Big Brother will go with Shuer. Lung Ruoxua said helplessly. She knew that she couldn't stop her brother, but she could still ensure his safety. Okay. He felt relieved after he got past Shuer. Big Brother, I won't disturb you packing. Then Lung Ruoxua returned to her room. Shuer, since Ruhan is going to Lunar Capital with you, Grandpa thought about it and decided to go with you too, Lung Qingtian said straightforwardly after coming to the Listening Snow Pavilion. Alas, he was worried about his grandson and granddaughter. Lung Ruoxua was at a loss for words. Why is Grandpa joining in the fun too? Let's go together then. Just treat it as a family outing. Mississippi. Lu Tao and Shui Zhu looked at their young miss pitifully after hearing this. Let's go together, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. On the day of departure, everyone gathered at the entrance of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy early. When Lin Liang saw Lung Qingtian, his eyes almost popped out. Old Lung, what are you doing here? To protect my grandson and granddaughter, of course, Lung Qingtian said proudly. Ruhan was smart enough to think of going with Shuer. Then I want to protect the students of our academy, so can I go too? Lin Liang said with widened eyes. You can't. You're the principal, so you have to stay and oversee the academy, Lung Qingtian said with a smirk. Aren't you still a great general? Lin Liang said angrily through gritted teeth. I've already arranged it. Lung Qingtian smiled. Damn old man, what are you so smug for? Lin Liang roared. Principal General Lung, many people are watching. Elder Chiu dissuaded somewhat helplessly. How embarrassing. Elder Chiu, please take care of me on the way. Lung Qingtian said very politely. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. Please take care of me, General Lung. Sweat dripped down Elder Chiu's forehead. The trip would be much safer with such a powerful bodyguard. Miss, we've accepted all the missions, Fengde said as he walked to Lung Ruoxue's side. Okay, Grandpa, Elder Chiu, let's go. Lung Ruoxue nodded. In this way, a group of more than 30 people left Phoenix City under Lin Liang's resentful gaze. Half a month later, they entered a small city on the border of the Southern Dusk Empire. Miss, I'm going to the Mercenary Union to submit the missions, Fengde said. His young lady had asked him to go to the Mercenary Union to accept some missions that were along the way before they set off. So every time they arrived at a new city, he would first submit the completed missions, and then take on some new missions that they could do on the road. Go. We'll wait for you in this inn. Grandpa, Elder Chiu, let's sit here. Lung Ruoxue found a seat by the window in the dining hall and sat down. The others also found seats and ordered food. Ruoxue, Brother Feng, Brother Yi, Brother Mu, what a coincidence. Zhu Ri hurriedly came forward to greet Lung Ruoxue and the others when he saw them. Big Brother Zhu. Lung Ruoxue didn't expect to see Zhu Ri in such a small place. The others who knew Zhu Ri also greeted him. Grandpa, Elder Chiu. He is the young master of the Hurricane Mercenary Group. He was the one who told me the news about Big Brother's injury, Lung Ruoxue explained. Chapter 85. Leaving for the Southern Dusk Empire 6. Thank you, young Master Zhu. You're too polite, General Lung. This junior has heard a lot about you, Zhu Ri said quickly. Big Brother Zhu, do you have a mission? Lung Ruoxue saw them escorting a carriage pulled by a spirit horse. Yes, we just returned from Western Light, Zhu Ri explained. Big Brother Zhu, we still have to travel tomorrow, so we'll go back to our rooms to rest first, Lung Ruoxue said directly after they chatted for a while and saw that everyone was almost done eating. Okay, I won't bother you then. Lin Yuan, stay here and wait for Fengde. The others can go back to their rooms to rest, Lung Ruoxue ordered. Yes, Mississippi. After going to her room, Lung Ruoxue was about to rest early when she heard someone knocking on the door. Why are you here? Lung Ruoxue opened the door and saw the freak standing there. Shuer, why did you return to your room so early? I want to continue chatting with Shuer. I'm tired, so I want to rest early, Lung Ruoxue said. Then rest early. Shuer looks exhausted. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. The next day, Lung Ruoxue and the others were preparing to set off just as dawn was breaking. But they unexpectedly encountered Zhu Ri outside the inn. Ruoxue, what a coincidence. Are you going to Lunar Capital for the competition? Why don't we go together, so that we can take care of each other on the road? Zhu Ri said with a smile. Big Brother Zhu, we're not going to Lunar Capital for the time being, so it's really not on the way, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. She wanted to take a different route. Moreover, she had already found out that the person in the carriage was a princess, and she was the most beloved princess of the Emperor of the Southern Dusk Empire. She had always been indifferent to princesses. Besides, it would absolutely be a big burden on the road if there was such a pampered princess with them. Yes, brother Ju. We have other things to do, and won't be going to lunar capital for the time being, Feng Moran said. He knew that Schwer didn't want to go with them, so of course he had to cooperate with her. All right. I'll see you in lunar capital then, Ju Ri said with some disappointment. Ruoxue, why didn't we go with them? Feng Aorn asked in puzzlement. Troublesome. Let's go the other way, Lung Ruoxue said. Ruoxue, the other route is very difficult to traverse, Elder Chiu reminded her. Elder Chiu, we didn't take many easy roads along the way either, Lung Ruoxue said. Her main goal was to let them experience the world. If they were here to enjoy life, Quill could have just flown them all the way. That mountain is called the Thousand Cry Mountain. It's the tallest and most dangerous mountain within the borders of Southern Dusk. We have to cross the Thousand Cry Mountain for a road leading to lunar capital, Lung Qingtian explained while looking at the mountain not far away. Is everyone ready? Yes. Let's go, Lung Ruoxue ordered. They walked into the Thousand Cry Mountain and realized how tall and steep it was when they entered it. The mountain ridges rose and fell continuously, and what they saw from the outside was only the tip of the iceberg. Moreover, they felt so insignificant between the tall ridges. Lung Ruoxue and the others walked for almost a day before they crossed the peak of one mountain. Big brother, why don't you stay in the heaven and earth bracelet? Lung Ruoxue whispered, afraid that her brother would be too tired. Schwer, are you looking down on me? It's just a mountain, Lung Ruhan said with some displeasure. Schwer, we have to find a place to camp. Yichen looked at the sky. Okay, let's camp here, Lung Ruoxue said directly, seeing that this place was spacious and level. She knew that everyone was a little tired as well. Why didn't we take an easier road? How long do we have to keep going? A sharp female voice suddenly sounded, attracting everyone's attention. Do you have a problem with this? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes were as calm as water as she looked at Song Min, the only other girl in the group. Of course I have a problem, Song Min said with some envy. She was a talented artificer, born to be respected by everyone. But she didn't receive any preferential treatment at all with these people. She had been ignored all along the way, and staying on a barren mountain finally made her, who had always been proud, explode in anger. Do you not want to stay here anymore? Lung Ruoxue said coldly. Other than the people from the Sacred Hall, the other 3 divisions each sent a representative with them. Song Min was the representative sent by the Artificer Division, and she had always felt superior. She had complained a lot along the way, but Lung Ruoxue didn't do anything for the sake of Elder Chiu. This female prodigy probably couldn't take it anymore now. No one wants to stay in such a godforsaken place. Song Min hollered. Oh, is there anyone else who doesn't want to stay here? Tell me now, and I'll send you down the mountain, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Her team didn't need spoiled young masters and ladies. Song Min, stop making a fuss. The principal said that we have to listen to Ruoxue's arrangements on the journey. Elder Chiu roared angrily. Based on what? I'm an artificer, Song Min said indignantly. What's so great about a mere artificer like you? Feng De mocked disdainfully. That's right. You are merely an artificer. Look at how smug you are. Lin Yuan echoed. His young lady was also an artificer. Why you? Song Min was so angry that her entire body was trembling. These uncouth people actually dared to humiliate a noble artificer. I won't let them go. Song Min, shut up. Stop making a fuss. Elder Chiu roared again. How can this Song Min be so troublesome? She really has poor judgment. Alas. Elder Chiu, you don't have to persuade me. I'll send her down the mountain, Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. Are you two going to descend the mountain with her? Lung Ruoxue asked the 2 students from the Alchemist and Beast Trainer divisions. No, the 2 of them said in unison. Although they were also full of complaints when they first set off with Lung Ruoxue and the others, they were really convinced after getting along for the past few days. Moreover, they gradually began to worship Lung Ruoxue as an idol like the spiritualists. Chapter 86. Another encounter with Ju Ri. One very good. Lung Ruoxue was very satisfied with their answer. Quill, send her to lunar capital. Lung Ruoxua summoned Quill. Yes, master. Quill threw Tsung Min roughly onto his back and flew toward lunar capital. Miss, don't be angry with that kind of person, Fengde comforted. The young lady was the god in their hearts. How could that kind of woman be so delusional as to compare herself with the young lady? She was really overestimating herself. How am I angry? Lung Ruoxua asked. Miss isn't angry. Fengde quickly corrected himself. Swear, there's a city after crossing this mountain, Lung Qingtian said. As a general of a country, he was very familiar with the topography of the various countries. Although this Thousand Cry Mountain wasn't easy to navigate through, dangers also meant opportunities. Grandpa, you and Big Brother should enter the Heaven and Earth bracelet to rest tonight, Lung Ruoxua said thoughtfully. It was very cold on the mountain, so she was worried about her brother's health. There's no need. Grandpa isn't that useless, Lung Qingtian said. It had been much more arduous when he led troops into battle. Fengde, grill this for everyone. Lung Ruoxua took out the meat of the water python that she killed in the misty woods. We have meat to eat only by following, miss, Fengde said happily. They had not eaten python meat for a long time, and were missing it. 2 hours later, Quill returned. Big Brother Quill, thanks for the hard work. Come, have some meat. Fengde handed him a piece of grilled meat in an ingratiating manner. Thank you. Quill unceremoniously began munching on the meat after transforming into a small bird. Ruoxua, what level of holy beast is your eagle? He's so fast. Elder Chiu said with envy. It was precisely because he knew that Ruoxua had such an eagle that he was in no hurry to rush along the way. Elder Chiu, Quill isn't a holy beast. Lung Ruoxua caressed Quill's soft feathers. Not a holy beast? Then what is he? He can't be a divine beast. Elder Chiu joked with a smile. Quill is a divine beast, Lung Ruoxua said indifferently. The food in Elder Chiu's hand fell to the ground. His eyes widened as he circled around Quill in disbelief, and there seemed to be suspicious liquid dripping from the corner of his mouth. He's actually a divine beast, Elder Chiu murmured to himself. His eyes lit up as he stared hard at Quill. No wonder he couldn't tell the level of this eagle. It turned out that this eagle was stronger than him. Whoa, I suddenly feel so inferior. Old Chiu, my condolences. Lung Qingtian comforted him. Luck was not something to be envious about. While everyone was eating and chatting, a rustling sound came from the distance. What's that sound? Yichen asked cautiously. Master, it's fire ants. Charm listened carefully. What? Fire ants? How can there be fire ants here? Everyone was puzzled, but no one was afraid. This was all thanks to Lung Ruoxua tormenting them during this period. Beloved master, fire ants are so annoying. Darling's face was full of disgust. Both humans and spirit beasts hated fire ants. Fire ants were also a type of spirit beasts, but they were very troublesome and destructive. The best way to deal with a group of fire ants was to run for your lives as soon as possible, or you would become food for the fire ants once they entangled you. An entire fire ant colony was led by a fire ant king, and the fire ants in the colony were only at elementary and intermediate spirit beasts, except for the fire ant king. They had yet to develop intelligence and only knew how to eat, and anything could become their food. Do any of you want to contract with the fire ant king? Lung Ruoxua asked everyone while caressing Darling's soft fur comfortably. Everyone was flabbergasted. Miss, who would want to contract such a disgusting thing? Lin Yuan was so disgusted that his hair stood on end. You have to think carefully. Contracting a fire ant king is equivalent to owning a fire ant army. Lung Ruoxua reminded them out of goodwill. See, can I contract it? Whispered Lu Yen, the student of the alchemist division. Although he was an alchemist, his level as a spiritualist was very low. His ability to protect himself would improve dramatically with a fire ant colony. Sure. Lung Ruoxua looked at the delicate and pretty Lu Yen and had a good impression of this student. As they were discussing, a dense swarm of fire ants had already surrounded them. Crack! Crack! Lung Ruoxia's scalp was tingling as she looked at the red ants that were half the height of a human and had pincers raised high with sharp fangs. No wonder even level 9 holy beasts are unwilling to provoke these guys. They are indeed annoying. But where is the Fire Ant King? All of you step back, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Get onto my back, Quill said as he suddenly enlarged in the air. Everyone climbed onto Quill's back to prevent Lung Ruoxue from being distracted. Swear, you have to be careful, Lung Ruhan shouted worriedly. Swear, Grandpa will help you. Lung Qingtian stood beside his granddaughter. How could he let his precious granddaughter fight alone? And me? Yichen stood on Lung Ruoxue's other side. You'll take on the Fire Ant King when it comes out, Lung Ruoxue said to Yichen. All right, leave that big ant to me. Grandpa, let's begin. Okay. These old bones of mine haven't exercised for a long time, Lung Qingtian said as he rubbed his palms together. Lung Ruoxue rushed into the ant colony with her sharp sword in hand. She used the meteor sword technique's blazing tree silver flower, and countless sparks shot toward the fire ant colony like stars. A third of the fire ants instantly died, and countless were injured. Lung Qingtian didn't want to be outdone. He unleashed his most powerful fire element heavenly spiritual skill, Blazing Flame Blaze Era. A sky full of flames charged at the fire ant colony, and another third of them instantly died. Amazing! The people standing on Quill's back stared at the one-sided battle with their mouths agape. This was the first time many people saw Lung Ruoxue fight apart from the earlier selection competition. With the addition of the heroic, invincible, and famous General Lung, it was conceivable how shocking this battle led by the grandfather and granddaughter combination was to them. Chapter 87. Another encounter with Ju Ri too. How dare you kill my children? The Fire Ant King finally showed up after almost half of the fire ants died. Finally came out. Lung Ruoxue stopped attacking and looked at the Fire Ant King with her beautiful eyes. Why do these kings like to cower in fear so much? Can't they just come out openly? Why are they so shy? The Fire Ant King was more than twice the height of ordinary fire ants. Its whole body was as bright as burning flames, and it had 2 large pincers raised high. It was a level 5 holy beast, and it would definitely be as strong as a level 9 holy beast, with its ability to control its fire ant colony. So many good assistants. Not bad, she was very satisfied. Seeing the Fire Ant King emerge, Lung Qingtian also stopped. The grandfather and granddaughter stood aside tacitly and gave the battlefield to Yichen. Big Ant, come here, Yichen said softly like the big bad wolf luring Little Red Riding Hood. Damn humans! I won't let you go. The Fire Ant King roared furiously and charged at Yichen. Yichen clenched his fist and punched the Fire Ant King on the head. With a loud bang, the Fire Ant King was overturned, and its feet were upside down in the air. Due to its size, it couldn't turn over no matter how hard it tried, and all it could do was keep kicking its legs. Human, you are too despicable. I won't let you go. The Fire Ant King roared in grief and indignation. You are bullying ants. Whoa whoa. Damn humans. Is this possible? Cold sweat dripped down everyone's forehead. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the fire ant colony, which were so scared that they wanted to burrow into the ground. She walked to the Fire Ant King and knocked his fiery red body. Not bad, pretty sturdy, Lung Ruoxue praised. Fire Ant King, shall we discuss something? Lung Ruoxue asked extremely kindly. What? Humans, you are too despicable. The Fire Ant King roared indignantly. Aren't you the despicable one? There are only so few of us. But look at how many ants there are among you. Lung Ruoxue pointed at the ants that hadn't died yet. This. The Fire Ant King was speechless. It seemed that it had more on its side. Fire Ant King, I will spare your lives as long as you agree to be his spirit beast. What do you think? Lung Ruoxue pointed at Lu Yen. I don't want to be the spirit beast of a weak human, the Fire Ant King said disdainfully. It had its pride even though it was only an ant. Then die, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. An immense amount of fire attribute spiritual power was released from her fingertips and hit the Fire Ant King. It was just an ant, so no big deal. And no, I don't want to die. I agree to be a spirit beast, the Fire Ant King said without a spine. Whoa, it hurts. How can this human kill me just like that? Too scary. You should have known better, Lung Ruoxue said discontentedly as she tamed the Fire Ant King. Lu Yen, come down and contract with it, Lung Ruoxue said to Lu Yen. Thank you, Lu Yan said to Lung Ruoxue gratefully after establishing the master-slave contract with the Fire Ant King. I, Lu Yan, am willing to acknowledge Lung Ruoxue as my master. I will always be loyal and will never betray you, Lu Yan said suddenly. Then the contract array descended to establish the contract. You're not bad. You definitely have a bright future following our young lady. Feng De patted Lu Yan's shoulder. He liked this smart little fellow. You didn't need to do this, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. She only did things according to her mood, and never expected to get anything in return. I did it willingly, Lu Yan said. He hadn't spent much time with them, but he liked the atmosphere between them. He didn't know when it started, but he actually had the desire to become one of them. Everyone rest early. We have to continue hiking tomorrow, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Swear, let's not meddle too much in other people's affairs in the future. Otherwise, we'll have to bother with more people in the future, Yi Chen said with some displeasure. Lu Yan and the other students were the same. All of them wanted to follow Swear. Even though they weren't a threat to him, he was still very displeased. I'm going to bed. Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at him. Jealous men are unreasonable. 5 days later, Lung Ruoxue and the others emerged from the Thousand Cry Mountain without any mishap. Everyone had a fruitful harvest, and their faces were full of happy smiles. Few dared to come to this Thousand Cry Mountain because of its reputation, so Lung Ruoxue had gathered a lot of herbs and edible mountain treasures in this mountain. The others also had their own harvests. Swear, Cloud City is just up ahead. Let's find an inn to freshen up, Lung Qingtian said. These children are as dirty as beggars. Okay. Lung Ruoxue nodded. After entering Cloud City, they found an inn and stayed for only one night, before setting off the next day. After leaving Cloud City, they walked for almost 2 days, and arrived at Dark Mountain Town, the nearest town to Lunar Capital. Lung Ruoxue and the others found a random inn, settled in, and went to the restaurant downstairs to eat. Ruoxue, after we pass this Dark Mountain Town, we will reach Lunar Capital, Elder Chiu said. This was the first time he had traveled for so long to participate in the academy competition. Elder Chiu, how many days until the academy competition? Lung Ruoxue asked. There are still 5 days. We will probably reach Lunar Capital in 2 days, Elder Chiu said. Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue suddenly heard someone calling her name. She turned her head and saw Ju Ri standing not far away, waving at her. Big brother Ju, did you accept a new mission? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. We haven't even reached Lunar Capital yet, Ju Ri said helplessly. The princess they were protecting was really troublesome. Big brother Ju, don't you have flying spirit beasts? Why are you using carriages? Lung Ruoxue was a little puzzled. If they used flying spirit beasts, they would have arrived in Lunar Capital long ago. The princess is afraid of heights, so we can only use carriages, Ju Ri said somewhat gloomily. He had told his father not to accept this mission, but his father just wouldn't listen to him. In the end, that noble princess kept finding trouble along the way, and his mercenaries also had a lot of complaints. Chapter 88. Another encounter with Ju Ri 3. Big brother Ju, we're going back to our rooms to rest. We still have to travel tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue looked at Ju Ri sympathetically. Elder Chiu, let's go upstairs. Okay. Elder Chiu looked at Ju Ri with some resentment. Why did we meet them again? So annoying. Early the next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the others set off. Swear, let's go quickly, Feng Moran said while on the road. Why are there so few people in Dark Mountain Town? Big brother, are you tired? Lung Ruoxue looked at her brother with some heartache. Her brother didn't have any spiritual power, so it was very tiring to walk so far. But he refused to take a carriage. Silly girl, I'm fine. Swear's concern made Lung Ruhan happy. Let's camp here tonight, Yi Chen suggested after walking for nearly a day, and seeing that it was getting late. Okay. Everyone quickly set up their tents, finished their meal, and left some guards before going to sleep. What's going on? Lung Ruoxue walked out of her tent in the middle of the night when she heard some commotion. It's Ju Ri and his people. It's okay. Swear, go back to sleep, Yi Chen said thoughtfully. but his eyes were shooting daggers at Ju Ri and the others. What's the matter? Lung Qingtian walked out of his tent. I'm really sorry for causing you trouble, Ju Ri said embarrassedly. He had been tormented badly by this willful princess all along the way. Big brother Ju, why did you wake us up in the middle of the night? Lung Ruoxua asked in a displeased tone. Ruoxua, I'm so sorry for causing you trouble. Ju Ri helplessly told them what had happened. They had been staying happily in the inn, but for some reason, the princess insisted on traveling in the middle of the night. She wanted to set up camp on the way, but she actually wanted to set up camp here. How could they have any tents? So he had no choice but to come and borrow some. Big brother Ju, I'm sorry, but the tents in our hands are just right, and we don't have any extra ones for you. I think you should hurry along. Lung Ruoxua suggested. She had never had a good impression of capricious noble princesses, and didn't want to get entangled with this one. Young Master Ju, we didn't prepare too many tents when we came out, but I can give you a tent, Lung Qingtian said politely and glared at his granddaughter. This girl is really too straightforward. It isn't Ju Ri's fault. Thank you, General Lung. One is enough, Ju Ri said awkwardly. Young Master Ju, I'll let you use that tent. Lung Qingtian pointed at his own tent. Okay, thank you so much. Ju Ri was embarrassed to stay any longer after thanking them. Lass, why are you so direct? Lung Qingtian asked. I just want them to leave quickly, Lung Ruoxua said. She really didn't like people from imperial families. Ah, this place is so dirty. What's this smell? It stinks. An unpleasant female voice sounded from the tent. Grandpa, did you hear that? Lung Ruoxua said clearly. She knew that they shouldn't have meddled in other people's business. How could this pampered princess live in a tent? Grandpa, you don't have to be angry with this kind of woman. Yi Chen quickly comforted General Lung when he saw that he was about to blow up. I'm not angry. I'm going to sleep, Lung Qingtian said. Humph. Out of sight, out of mind. Princess, you're the one who insisted on staying in a tent even though there was an inn. If you are so choosy, stay outside with my brothers and feed the mosquitoes. Ju Ri said coldly and turned to leave the tent. He had had enough on the way. Ju Ri, you bastard. How dare you speak to me like that? The unruly princess roared angrily. Princess, calm down, calm down. The maidservant quickly comforted her. Look at his attitude. I am a princess. How dare he treat me like this? Imperial father even wants me to marry him. Humph. Not a chance. The more she thought about it, the angrier she became. Princess, it's getting late. Let's rest. We have to rush tomorrow. We can ask His Majesty to teach him a lesson when we return to the palace if you're really angry. Another maidservant suggested. Okay, well, go back and ask Imperial Father to vent my anger for me, the unruly princess said unreasonably. Send this to them. Lung Ruoxua handed Yi Chen a few bottles of wine, and then returned to her tent. My Schwer has a sharp tongue but a soft heart. Yi Chen was a little jealous, but he still walked over with the wine bottles. Here, have some to warm yourself up. Yi Chen distributed the wine to the Hurricane mercenary group. Thank you, brother, Ju Ri said gratefully. Because they had left in a hurry, they didn't prepare anything for camping outside. You have to be careful when accepting missions in the future. You can't accept such a client even if they pay you more, Yi Chen said with emotion. Some things can't be helped. Your Blazing Flame mercenary group will also meet such clients in the future, Ju Ri reminded him. That's where you're wrong. Our Blazing Flame mercenary group will not accept such clients. If you want to entrust a request to us, you have to follow our rules, Yi Chen said indifferently. Is that possible? Ju Ri asked with uncertainty. Everything depends on the person. It mainly depends on whether you want to become the one who sets the rules, or the one who follows the rules, Yi Chen said. He believed that Ju Ri was smart, and would understand what he meant. Join us in our tents, Yi Chen said to the Hurricane mercenary group before leaving. Set the rules, follow the rules, Ju Ri murmured. He was the only one left by the fire. The next morning, Lung Ruoxua emerged from her tent to see Ju Ri sitting alone, by an extinguished fire in a daze. Big brother Ju, have you thought it through? Lung Ruoxua said indifferently. She knew that the freak Yi Chen had talked to him for a while yesterday. Yes, I have, Ju Ri said. Ruoxue, I'm so sorry for causing you trouble yesterday, Ju Ri said awkwardly. Chapter 89. Another encounter with Ju Ri. I just don't like people from imperial families, Lung Ruoxue explained. Her tone wasn't too good yesterday. I don't like them either, Ju Ri agreed. People from imperial families were indeed annoying. Big brother Ju, if you don't want to be controlled by others, you have to become a powerhouse above everyone, Lung Ruoxue reminded. Okay, I will work hard. How could Ju Ri not know what Ruoxue was thinking? But it wasn't so easy to become a true powerhouse. Big brother Ju, where is the pill I gave you? Lung Ruoxue asked. It's still here. I've been keeping it all this while. Ju Ri said. The spiritual energy in the pill was very abundant. It was obvious at a glance that it was no ordinary pill. Big brother Ju, when you become a spiritual sovereign, that pill can help you break through to spiritual supremacy. Lung Ruoxue turned and left, leaving behind a dazed Ju Ri. When nearly everyone was awake, they divided the work to prepare breakfast. Hey, go and get that commoner to wait on me, the snobbish princess ordered Ju Ri domineeringly. Why is that damn woman more beautiful than me? There are so many handsome men surrounding her too. Humph. She felt pissed off just looking at the scene. Princess, stop making a fuss. Hurry up and finish your breakfast, so we can continue on our journey, Ju Ri said impatiently. How dare you shout at me? Do you want to die? The princess, who had always been able to do whatever she wanted, roared furiously. Ju Ri glared coldly at the princess and then left. Ju Ri, how dare you? Xiao Wan, go and tell that commoner to come and serve me. Seeing Ju Ri leave, the princess was even angrier and directly ordered her maidservant bossily. Yes, the maidservant named Xiao Wan had no choice but to bite the bullet and walk toward Lung Ruoxue and the others. Miss, our princess invites you over, Xiao Wan whispered fearfully. These people don't like they should be provoked. But why does the princess dislike them? Are you talking to me? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly while holding a grilled rabbit thigh in one hand. Yes, Xiao Wan said fearfully. Heavens! Why do I feel that this young lady is more like a princess than our princess? I don't think your princess wants to invite me over, Lung Ruoxue said softly. The princess spoke so loudly that they couldn't pretend not to hear her. Seeing the unfriendly gazes, Xiao Wan felt her legs go weak. Scram, Yichen said coldly. Xiao Wan was so scared that she hurriedly ran back. Heavens! That man's expression just now was really too scary. Princess, this servant. Xiao Wan knelt in front of the princess, her face full of fear. Useless thing. The princess slapped Xiao Wan on the face and scolded her. You lowly commoner. It's your honor that this princess is willing to let you serve me. How dare you not know how to appreciate favors? The princess walked directly to Lung Ruoxue and scolded her angrily. Who are you calling a commoner? Lung Ruoxue narrowed her beautiful eyes, killing intent flashing in them. You of course. Humph. Wouldn't a commoner have no money to stay in an inn? The princess said matter-of-factly. Doesn't that mean you're worse than a commoner? Don't forget. You borrowed your tent from someone else. Lung Ruoxue reminded her. Exactly. Without our tent, the princess would have had to sleep out in the wild, Feng De said mockingly. Humph. How dare a princess be rude to our young lady? She must be tired of living. You lowly commoners, how dare you? I am a princess. The princess roared furiously as she looked at the mocking and unfriendly gazes. Captain, do you want to go over and take a look? Those people aren't to be trifled with. A mercenary couldn't bear to watch any longer, and whispered to Ju Ri. It would implicate their mercenary group if those people killed the princess in a fit of anger. Ignore her, Ju Ri said coldly. He believed that Ruoxue would know her limits. Feng De, throw her back, Lung Ruoxue ordered. This was the Southern Dusk Empire after all. Even if she wanted to kill this princess, she wouldn't do it now. Yes, Mississippi. Feng De picked up the princess like he was picking up a chicken and threw her back into her carriage. He then wiped his hands on the curtain of the carriage in disdain and walked back. Aha! Why you? I won't let you go. You're dead. The princess screamed, but she was completely ignored. Shuer, pack up and go, Lung Qingtian said. If they hurried, They should reach lunar capital by tomorrow morning. Okay. Well, get Quill to bring us there later. Lung Ruoxua said. Captain, should we set off? A mercenary asked. Let's go. Zhu reordered after Lung Ruoxua, and the others left on the flying spirit beast. 2 hours later, Quill descended in front of the city gates of lunar capital. So this is lunar capital. It's about the same as our Phoenix City. Some students who had never been to lunar capital couldn't help but be a little disappointed when they saw the tall city walls. The Southern Dusk Empire was the wealthiest among the 5 great countries, but it didn't look much different from their Phoenix City. It's called seeing with your own eyes, Lung Qingtian said. The reason the Southern Dusk Empire was regarded as the wealthiest of the 5 countries was mainly that the Hua family, the head of the 5 great families, lived in lunar capital. But the money belonged to the Hua family and had nothing to do with the Southern Dusk Empire. Grandpa, Elder Chiu, let's enter. Lung Ruoxua said. Okay. Everyone strode into the capital. Someone welcomed them as they entered the city gates. You must be Elder Chiu. I am Elder Yu from the Lunar Shadow Academy. I am in charge of receiving guests from the major academies. A tall and thin old man introduced himself. Greetings, Elder Yu. Elder Chiu said politely. He knew many elders from the Lunar Shadow Academy, but this was the first time he had seen Elder Yu. I have arranged accommodation for the Heavenly Phoenix Academy. Please follow me. Elder Yu said sincerely. Everyone followed Elder Yu for a while, and stopped when he suddenly stopped. Chapter 90. Another encounter with Zhu 5. Elder Chiu, you will be staying in this Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. The entire 5th floor is for your academy. Elder Yu pointed at a 6-story luxurious restaurant. The Elegance Lagoon Pavilion was one of the best inns in lunar capital, with both meals and lodging. The 1st and 2nd floors were for the restaurant, and the 3rd to 6th floors were for lodging. The entire inn was said to be the most luxurious in terms of exterior and interior decoration. Moreover, Elegance Lagoon Pavilion was owned by the Hua family. Thank you for your effort in making the arrangements, Elder Yu. Elder Chiu said gratefully. Everyone then entered the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Elder Chiu, how much does it cost to stay here for a day? A student couldn't help asking curiously after they reached the 5th floor of the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. This place was really too luxurious. It's enough for ordinary families to live for several years. We stay here for free, but we have to pay for our meals ourselves, Elder Chiu explained. Even though he had expected that the accommodations provided by the Lunar Shadow Academy wouldn't be too shabby, he didn't expect their lodging to be the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Their academy was already considered very rich, but it would be a little unbearable to eat here continuously for a month. Moreover, he didn't bring that much money. What should I do? We can't stay here but eat outside, right? The entire Heavenly Phoenix Academy would be disgraced. Fengda, arrange rooms for them, Lung Ruoxua ordered. Yes, Mississippi. Come with me, Fengda said to everyone. Elder Chiu, what's the matter? Lung Ruoxua couldn't help asking when she saw Elder Chiu struggling. I'm afraid we don't have enough money, Elder Chiu said awkwardly. The Lunar Shadow Academy is really too despicable. They actually arranged for us to stay here. In fact, no matter which academy was the host, they would generally not arrange for the major academies to stay in such top-notch lodging. It was obvious that the Lunar Shadow Academy was up to no good, and wanted to see the Heavenly Phoenix Academy become a joke. Elder Chiu, is this worth you struggling over? We aren't the only academy staying here. If something like this happens to us, it will happen to the other academies as well. Lung Ruoxua smiled and comforted him. Yes, in addition to our academy, there are also the Rising Dragon Academy, Landshine Academy, and Flying Bird Academy. Except for the Rising Dragon Academy, it's impossible for the other 2 academies to have meals here every day. Feng Moran also comforted him. He had already found out that a total of 4 academies were staying here when he arrived. How can those academies compare to ours? Our academy is one of the 3 major academies on the Lingfeng continent. It would be very embarrassing if we stayed here and went out to eat, Elder Chiu said. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy couldn't lose its dignity. Old man, Why do you care so much about dignity? It doesn't matter where we eat, Lung Qingtian said. This isn't because of my own dignity. This is the dignity of the academy, Elder Chiu emphasized. Grandpa, Elder Chiu, stop arguing. I'll pay, Lung Ruoxue said impatiently. These two old men had been bickering all along the way. You have money? Elder Chiu asked in surprise. Where did you get the money? Lung Qingtian asked. He knew that his granddaughter had a lot of good things, but she didn't seem to have much money. I sold some spirit crystals before we set off, Lung Ruoxue explained. Before they started this journey, she had specially asked Feng to sell a portion of the spirit crystals they had obtained in the illusionary forest for emergencies. Did you sell that earth python? Lung Qingtian asked anxiously. That couldn't be sold because it couldn't even be bought with money. No. That's good. Ruoxue, are you sure we can eat here for a month without any problems? Elder Chiu asked uncertainly. They would have to stay in lunar capital for at least a month if they entered the top 3. Elder Chiu, a month is nothing. We can even stay for a year. Feng De interrupted after arranging the rooms. Then I can rest assured, Elder Chiu said. I didn't expect Ruoxue to be a wealthy lady. Don't worry. Let's hurry to our rooms to freshen up, and then try the dishes of this Elegance Lagoon Pavilion later, Lung Ruoxue suggested. Okay. Everyone was very interested in this idea. After going to her room, Lung Ruoxue directly entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet, took a beautiful hot spring bath, and played with the little fellows before leaving. Ruoxue, you came out just in time. I was just about to call you for dinner, Elder Chiu said eagerly when she saw Lung Ruoxue come out of her room. Then let's go. Elder Chiu, do you want to eat? The innkeeper asked when he saw Elder Chiu and the others coming down the stairs. Arrange 3 private rooms for us, Elder Chiu said generously. Having money emboldened him. Yes, please wait a moment. The innkeeper quickly went to arrange it. Lung Ruoxue and the others entered the private rooms. They had just ordered and were about to eat when the door suddenly opened, and a man and a woman walked in. Who allowed you to come in? Lung Ruoxue questioned coldly. She hated being disturbed while eating. Moreover, they pushed the door open and entered without even knocking. Swear he is Huaqing, Lung Ruhan said softly. They presumably came for him. I'm sorry to bother you, Huaqing said politely. Why did you come in if you knew you were interrupting? Lung Ruoxue said without giving him any face. She didn't care who he was. It was wrong to disturb her eating. Huaqing smiled bitterly. No one had ever been so rude to him in his life. How can you be so ungrateful? Big Brother Qing came to see an old friend out of goodwill. How can you have this attitude? Huaqing didn't say anything. Instead, it was the beautiful girl beside him who rebuked her with discontent, with jealousy in her eyes flashing for a moment. What a joke. Did I invite him? Lung Ruoxue sneered. She raised her eyes slightly and examined the man and woman in front of her. Huaqing had a handsome appearance, a masculine build, and was an intermediate spiritual sovereign. Although his appearance wasn't as good as her elder brothers and the others, he was the type of man that women liked the most. As for this woman, she had an incomparably pure face and looked very innocent. But Lung Ruoxue knew that this woman was a classic example of a two-faced person. Her appearance could make all men want to protect and cherish her. And she was usually the most difficult kind of woman to deal with. Moreover, this woman was the most beautiful woman she had seen to date. Yichen suddenly said after they chatted for a while. So what? Do I have to like him like other women? Lung Ruoxue asked. A man like Huaqing would definitely prioritize his family's interests. This kind of man was not her type. If someone wanted to be her man, he had to put her first. You're not allowed to like him. You've already got me. Yichen said seriously. If you want to become my man, it will depend on your performance. Lung Ruoxue said. She could ignore a man's identity and status, but it was not so easy to be her man. I will let you know that only I am most suitable for you, Yichen said solemnly. Even though he had always considered himself Shuer's fiancé, and liked to call her his wife when there were many people around, he had never said these words in such a serious manner. All right, I'll wait and see. As soon as she saw Yi Chenoff, Elder Chiu came. Ruoxue, we can't find Song Min, Elder Chiu, who had gone out to look for Song Min, said directly as soon as he entered Ruoxue's room. The competition would begin the day after tomorrow, but Song Min's whereabouts were unknown, which couldn't help making him a little worried. Elder Chiu, calm down. The competition will begin 2 days later. There's still time, Lung Ruoxue consoled. Okay, I'll look for her tomorrow, Elder Chiu said. Song Min was going to participate in the artificer competition, so they really couldn't do without her. After seeing Elder Chiu off, Lung Ruoxue washed up and then went to bed. The streets of Lunar Capital were bustling with people. Grandpa, where are we going? Her grandfather dragged her, her brother, and Yi Chen out early in the morning. Let's go to the bazaar. I heard from the innkeeper that there's a bazaar today, Lung Qingtian said. Why is Grandpa interested in the bazaar? No wonder there are so many people on the streets today. I heard that there will be many specialties from the Southern Dusk Empire, Lung Qingtian said yearningly. When they arrived at the bazaar, Lung Ruoxue found that there were a lot of snacks being sold. So Grandpa is here for these snacks. With this thought, she couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. Swear, try this. It's sour and sweet and very delicious. It's a specialty of Southern Dusk. Lung Qingtian handed Lung Ruoxue a red fruit pierced on a thin wooden stick. Isn't this candied hawthorn? She didn't expect this thing to appear in the Southern Dusk Empire. Lung Ruoxue took a bite. It tastes pretty good. The four of them shopped and ate for most of the day, before returning to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion, with some lingering feelings. What's the matter? After they returned, Lung Ruoxue and the others went directly to the conference room, prepared for them in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. As they entered, they felt that the atmosphere was a little off as soon. Miss Song Min has been found, Feng De said softly. Found? Lung Ruoxue looked at Feng De doubtfully. Why is Elder Chiu's face so ugly then? Song Min refuses to come back to participate in the competition unless Elder Chiu fulfills her condition, Feng De explained. He knew very well what had happened, because he found Song Min together with Elder Chiu. What condition? She requested Miss to withdraw from the competition, or else she would refuse to participate, Feng De said. Humph. That woman is really overestimating herself. How dare she use this to threaten us? Chapter 92. You've already got me too. Elder Chiu, Song Min wants to withdraw from the competition? Lung Ruoxue walked directly to Elder Chiu after hearing what Feng De said. Yes. Let her withdraw then. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Ruoxue, if she doesn't participate, we have no one else for the artificer competition, Elder Chiu said gloomily. If Song Min didn't participate in the artificer competition, it would affect their final total score. But he could never agree to her condition. There's no one else. Oh, go then. Lung Ruoxue said. She didn't want to be in the limelight, but there were always people who forced her into it. Can't they let me keep a low profile? You. Elder Chiu's eyes widened as he looked at Lung Ruoxue in disbelief. Does this girl know how to refine artifacts? Can't I? Lung Ruoxue stared at Elder Chiu unblinkingly. Yes. Ruoxue, do you really know how to refine artifacts? Elder Chiu asked worriedly. A little, Lung Ruoxue said. She had only learned a little of her master's art of artificing, but it was enough to deal with such a competition. Lung Ruoxue's words made Lung Qingtian and the others speechless. If you only know a little, then those noble supreme artificers would have no jobs. It's good that you know a little. It's better than having no one participate. Elder Chiu said with relief, the worry from before vanishing. By the way, Ruoxue, I have to go to the Lunar Shadow Academy to draw lots and get our number later. Okay. Elder Chiu, what's the schedule for the competition the day after tomorrow? Lung Ruoxue asked. The first 3 days of the competition is called the Battle Royale, but it has nothing to do with our academy, Elder Chiu explained. What kind of Battle Royale? Lung Ruoxue asked. Swear, let me explain it to you, Lung Ruhan said. There are more than 150 major and minor academies on the Lingfeng continent. Each academy will send 30 spiritualists, which means there are thousands of competitors. Since there are too many people, It's impossible to engage in one-on-one battles. So the first 3 days we'll use the Battle Royale method to carry out the group stage. In the first Battle Royale, only the top 50 academies can advance to the next round of the competition. And after the 3-day Battle Royale, only 20 academies can remain to participate in the official competition. Therefore, the competition is very intense, Lung Ruhan explained. As the first runner-up last time, our academy doesn't need to participate in the group stage, Lung Ruhan added. Does that mean we have nothing to do for the first 3 days? Lung Ruoxua asked. How can we have nothing to do? We have to go and watch the battles. What if a dark horse appears? Elder Chiu said. You had to know thyself and thy enemy. Swear, the battle royale is very intense and interesting, Lung Ruhan said. Then let's check it out tomorrow. Lung Ruoxua said, seeing the interest from the others. Early the next day, they arrived at the competition venue of the Lunar Shadow Academy. Lung Ruoxua was too embarrassed to stay behind to nap after seeing the excited crowd, but she felt a little sleepy sitting in the seats that the Lunar Shadow Academy had arranged for them. Call me when the match begins. Lung Ruoxua closed her eyes after speaking. Okay, Lung Ruhan said lovingly. Swear, the group stage has begun, Yichen said softly. Where's Big Brother? Lung Ruoxua slowly opened her beautiful eyes and looked around, but she didn't see Lung Ruhan. Hua Qing sent someone to invite him away, Yichen explained. What? Lung Ruoxua immediately became awake when she heard this. She was really worried about her big brother being alone with those people. Don't worry. I got phoned to follow him. No one will dare to let your precious big brother be wronged. Yichen felt a little sour in his heart. When will Shuer care so much about me? Shuer is awake? Lung Ruhan returned just as he spoke. Big brother, are you okay? Lung Ruoxua asked worriedly. I'm fine, Lung Ruhan said with some amusement. Shuer is just too worried about me. The first round of the Battle Royale was divided into 5 groups. Each group had 30 academies, and only the top 10 would advance. That was to say, on the first day, 60 academies would not have the chance to enter the next round of the Battle Royale, and would stop here in the academy competition. The time limit for each group round was 3 hours. After 3 hours, the academies would be scored and ranked according to the number of people on the field. There are many nobles from the Southern Dusk Empire here today, and the imperial family has sent their representatives, Lung Qingtian said as he casually glanced at the people sitting in the VIP seats. It might only be the group stage, but the competition is actually very intense. Moreover, many of the families here hope to choose some talents from among them for their own use, Elder Chiu explained. The group stage of the academy competition was not open to ordinary people. Even big families required an invitation if they wanted to watch them. Otherwise, they would not be able to enter at all. What if there's no one on the stage at the end of the 3 hours? Lung Ruoxua asked curiously. That's impossible. Basically, during the first 2.5 hours of the Battle Royale, everyone will be observing and not attacking. The real competition will only begin in the last half hour, Lung Ruhan explained. Then why are we all sitting here? Why don't we just come for the last half hour? Lung Ruoxua said impatiently while looking at the team standing still on the stage. Are they just going to stare at each other like this? Lass, do you think those people are here to watch the battle? Lung Qingtian shook his head helplessly. Of course, she wouldn't think that they had nothing to do other than watch the battle. But sitting here was really boring. Moreover, Lung Ruoxua found that she seemed to be becoming more and more carefree now. It could be said that this was her nature. Shuer, do you see the man in the crimson outfit? Lung Ruhan pointed at the conspicuous man in crimson on the stage. Yes, is there a problem with him? Shuer, his name is Di Fei. He's the top expert of the Flying Bird Academy. He is very strong, and he came in 4th in the last individual competition, Lung Ruhan explained. Peak spiritual monarch, Lung Ruoxua said while looking at Di Fei carefully. 3 years ago, he was only an elementary spiritual monarch. He is 5th on the genius rankings, Lung Ruhan said. The 30 spiritualists of each academy will split up into 5 teams, and then the teams will draw lots, and be divided into 5 groups to carry out the preliminaries. There will be 5 stages for the preliminaries at the same time, and the winners will enter the second round of the preliminaries. Tomorrow is the first round, and there will be 3 groups competing. 2 teams from our academy will participate. Ling Yuan and Muli, you 2 are the leaders. You have to work hard tomorrow. We will go and cheer for you too, Elder Chiu said. Elder Chiu, don't worry. We will definitely advance, Ling Yuan promised confidently. That's good. To be honest, he didn't know much about the true strength of these students. They all like to pretend to be weak to take advantage of others like Wuxia after all. Elder Chiu, this is only the first preliminary round. What will happen in the later rounds if you're so worried? Lung Wuxia couldn't help asking the nervous Elder Chiu. I'm not worried. I'm just afraid that they will be nervous, Elder Chiu lied. It was their first time participating in such a large-scale competition after all. Who knows who the nervous one is? Lung Wuxia was speechless at Elder Chiu's stubbornness, but she didn't intend to expose him. There are matches tomorrow, so everyone should rest early today. Lung Wuxia returned to her room after speaking. Early the next morning, Lung Wuxia and the others arrived at the competition venue on time. After the host announced the rules and said a bunch of encouragement, the competition officially began. You can stick your number on your clothes now, Elder Chiu reminded them before the Heavenly Phoenix Academy's teams went on stage. Okay, good luck. In contrast to Elder Chiu's nervousness, Lung Wuxia was much more relaxed. She was very confident in the strength of her subordinates. It was just the preliminaries and not a big deal. I'm hungry. Let's go have something to eat. I heard the food in the Lunar Shadow Academy's dining hall is pretty good, Lung Wuxia whispered to Yi Chun, who was sitting beside her. Okay. Yi Chun naturally had no objections to eating. The 2 of them stood up, left the competition venue as if no one else was here, and headed straight for the dining hall. Since everyone was watching the competition, and it was not time to eat yet, there were not many people in the dining hall. After ordering their food, they found a window seat and sat down. Move aside. This is my spot. A female voice suddenly sounded in their ears. The 2 of them, who were eating, looked up at the woman with displeasure, and then lowered their heads again to continue eating. Did you hear me? Go away. This is the spot I like. The woman was a little mad at being ignored. Scram! Yi Chun raised his head in displeasure, and spat out a single word to express his thoughts. You! How dare you? Do you know who I am? The woman roared angrily. She originally had a good impression of this incomparably handsome man, and even planned to let him be her man. But she didn't expect this man to ignore her existence, or to act so ungentlemanly. Humph, such a crude and uneducated man isn't worthy of me at all. I don't care who you are. Get lost. Don't disturb us while we're eating, Yi Chun said unhappily. Where did this fly come from? How annoying. Just you wait. This princess won't let you off. The woman glared at them fiercely, and then left angrily. You guys are in big trouble. That woman is the Northern Frost Empire's most beloved little princess. A boy, who was also eating in the dining hall, came over quietly to inform them. Chapter 94. You've already got me for princess? So what? Lung Wuxia looked up at the boy who told them the information. Why are there so many princesses in this world? I seem to meet these so-called princesses everywhere I go. The boy didn't know what to say after seeing their calm reactions. Moreover, this girl was so beautiful. He was so nervous that he didn't dare to take a second look, and could only return to his seat. Lung Wuxia and Yi Chun finished eating, and returned to the competition venue. As soon as they returned, they received Elder Chiu's glare. Where did you 2 go? Elder Chiu growled. We were hungry, so we went to eat. Why, you've gone too far. Elder Chiu, food is everything to people. Of course, we have to eat when we're hungry. How did we go too far? Lung Wuxia said in disapproval. Our academy is competing, yet you guys went to eat. Isn't this too much? Elder Chiu was fuming. Elder Chiu, calm down. You're too nervous, Yi Chun teased. This old man is quite cute. Miss, our match is over. Can we go back now? Feng De walked over and asked. Oh, then let's go back. Just like that. Lung Ruoxue and the others ignored Elder Chio's scowl and returned to the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. The other two groups' matches for the first round of the preliminaries were scheduled for the next day. Lung Ruoxue's, Feng Moran's, and Feng Da's teams all successfully entered the second round. In addition, the teams from the Rising Dragon Academy and the Lunar Shadow Academy also entered the second round of the preliminaries without any suspense. Over the next 3 days, 2 more rounds of preliminaries were held, and finally, 10 teams advanced to the semifinals. When the list of who advanced came out, Elder Chio was so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. All 5 teams from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy had advanced, while only 3 teams from the most powerful Rising Dragon Academy and 2 teams from the Lunar Shadow Academy had advanced to the top 10. Elder Chio, congratulations. Many elders came forward to congratulate him. We just got lucky, Elder Chio said modestly, but he was very pleased in his heart. Ruoxue, it's really too enjoyable this time, Elder Chio said happily. Their academy had been suppressed by the Rising Dragon Academy for many years, and it had been a long time since they were so happy. Elder Chio, it's not the finals yet. Aren't you a little too happy too early? Lung Ruoxue said. This old man is a little too smug. I'm just too happy, Elder Chio said, a little embarrassed. Let's go back. After a 2-day break, the semifinals officially began. After drawing lots, the 10 teams were divided into 5 groups, and the winner would advance to the finals. The Heavenly Phoenix Academy was considered lucky, and its teams didn't have to face each other. However, Lin Yuan's and Hu Qing's teams would be against each other. It's okay. It's just Hu Qing. I'm not afraid of him, Lin Yuan said nonchalantly. That's right. There's nothing to be afraid of. His reputation is just a little better than ours, Feng Da added. Elder Chio, I told you he's fine. Don't worry, Lung Ruoxue said. At this time, the more everyone cared about Lin Yuan, the greater his pressure would be. But Elder Chio wanted to say something more, but was interrupted. Old man Chio, Lin Yuan's strength isn't as good as Hu Qing. It's reasonable if he loses. It's not a big deal. Lung Qingtian said. It was just a competition, and not a battle of life and death. The teams from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy entered the stage one by one, and Lung Ruoxue's, Feng Moran's, Mu Li's, and Feng Da's teams all won their matches. Only Lin Yuan's and Hu Qing's had yet to compete. Everyone's attention was on the last 2 teams, because everyone was curious whether the Heavenly Phoenix Academy could take the top 5 spots in the team competition after their outstanding performance so far. Or could the Rising Dragon Academy protect its last dignity? The match between the 2 teams was as exciting as the fight for the champion and second place. Looking at the 2 teams on the arena, everyone couldn't help but hold their breath for fear of missing any battle. You are very strong, Hu Qing couldn't help but say. He had always thought that Lung Ruhan was his greatest opponent, and he didn't expect so many geniuses to emerge from the Heavenly Phoenix Academy this year. You are very strong too, Lin Yuan said as he wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth. He was looking forward to the battle between this man and his young lady. Do you still want to continue fighting? Hu Qing asked. Yes. We haven't lost yet, Lin Yuan said. Even though there was a gap in strength, they wouldn't admit defeat easily. Come on then. Hu Qing admired his will and spirit. Both of them used their unique skills, and the spiritual power on the stage dazzled everyone's eyes. The 2 of them fought for dozens of rounds, and the stage completely became their battlefield. Everyone else was just background. It was not until Lin Yuan used the last bit of his spiritual power and fainted that the match ended. This should be the most difficult battle since the start of the competition. Lin Yuan's team might have lost, but it was a glorious defeat. No one dared to look down on him. Although Hu Qing's team won, it was a tragic victory. Who asked you to work so hard? Do you want to die? Lung Ruoxue said unpleasantly while looking at Lin Yuan, who had woken up after being carried off the stage by his teammates. Miss, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Lin Yuan saw that Lung Ruoxue was angry and quickly admitted his mistake. He knew that he had made his young lady worry. Eat this. Lung Ruoxue threw a pill to Lin Yuan, and then ignored him. After the matches, everyone returned to their residences. On the way, Ling Yuan kept sneaking glances at Lung Ruoxue. But she didn't even look at him, completely ignoring him. After a day of rest, the finals of the team competition officially began. The finals would be a round-robin system to determine the final score. Dear guests and students, today is the last day of the team competition. The champion of the team competition will be born after today. Let us all wait and see. After the host stirred up the emotions of the audience, the day's matches began. Chapter 95. You've already got me. 5. Lung Ruoxue's team was the first to go on stage today, and her last opponent was the team led by Huqing. On the arena, Lung Ruoxue sized up the composed Huqing. Today was the last battle of the team competition. In the previous 3 matches, Lung Ruoxue's team had won complete victories, so she would still be the champion of the team competition, even if she lost this match. But Huqing's situation was different. In the last 3 matches, Huqing's team had lost to Mulis, tied with Big Brother Feng's, and only won 1 victory against Feng Das. The pressure on Huqing was tremendous, and this stunning genius probably never expected such a situation to happen. However, this was a team competition after all, and the overall strength was more important. Even if he was a genius, it was useless without good teammates. While Lung Ruhan was sizing Huqing up, he was also sizing her up. This beautiful girl was Lung Ruhan's sister, and used to be a simpleton. But after a few days of observation, he found that this girl was harder to deal with than her elder brother, because he still couldn't tell what her strength was until now. Moreover, she seemed to win every battle very easily, as though she didn't use her full strength at all. You are the strongest opponent I have ever met, Huqing said. He was helpless against such a strong opponent, because the strength of his teammates was not comparable in the team competition. But he had to compete with her in the individual competition. This seemingly weak and beautiful girl had already aroused his intense fighting spirit. Likewise, Lung Ruoxue said lightly, she knew that the team competition wouldn't allow Huqing to unleash his full strength. The real competition between them was the individual competition. Let's end this quickly, Lung Ruoxue said. Okay. He didn't want to waste time. The 2 teams got into formation and began to attack the opponents according to the pre-planned strategy. Soon, 2 people from Huqing's team were eliminated, and then Huqing declared their defeat. In less than 10 minutes, Huqing announced his defeat, much to the disappointment of many people who wanted to watch a good show. They originally thought that this battle would be very interesting, but it ended so quickly. Lung Ruoxue became famous because of her outstanding performance in the entire team competition. In the end, Lung Ruoxue and her team won the team competition. Mu Li's team was in 2nd place, Huqing's and Feng Moran's teams tied for 3rd place, and Feng Das' team was in 4th place. After the team competition, the academies were also ranked. Only the top 10 academies were eligible to participate in the individual competition. After the spiritualist team competition, it was the alchemist competition. The alchemist competition was divided into preliminaries, semi-final, and final. As there were only 20 or so alchemists participating in the competition was scheduled to take place over 2 days. The first day was the preliminaries, which was divided into 2 rounds. The first round would be to concoct a designated pill chosen by the judges, who would provide the raw materials for the pills. The second round was for the students to concoct the pills that they were best at, and the judges would grade the pills. The judges of the competition were professional alchemists sent by the Alchemist Association, and this competition could also be considered a competition for the Alchemist Association to select talents. On the day of the alchemy preliminaries, Lung Ruoxue and the others accompanied Lu Yan to the competition venue. Lu Yan, remember, your ranking isn't important. It's enough for you to unleash your full strength, Lung Ruoxue said to Lu Yan, who was about to go on stage. Yes, I will, Lu Yan said gratefully. It was his first time participating in such an important competition, and he was indeed under a lot of pressure. The first round's designated pill was only an elementary level pill. the amplification pill. And it wasn't difficult for the 20 or so alchemists present to concoct. The test for this round was not whether they could concoct the pill. It mainly tested whether the alchemists' foundations were strong, which was very important for alchemists. As the last alchemists on the field extinguished their flames, the more than 20 alchemists completed their first test. They were only waiting for the judges to grade them now. In the first test of concocting the designated pill, Lu Yan obtained second place. Ranked above him was a genius from the Rising Dragon Academy's Alchemy Division, Lu Qing. Second place, that's great, Elder Chiu said excitedly. Lu Yan was the number one person in their Heavenly Phoenix Academy's Alchemy Division. Elder Chiu, the preliminaries aren't over yet. Lung Ruoxue poured cold water on him. This old man has been a little too excited these days. Elder Chiu also felt that he had been a little too smug. The second round was to concoct the pills that they were best at. Lung Ruoxue knew that Lu Yan wanted to concoct an intermediate pill, the essence-enhancing pill. It was a pill that you had to master to become an alchemist. The grades of pills were divided into elementary, intermediate, advanced, earth grade and heaven grade. Each grade was also divided into low, middle and high. Apprentice alchemists had to be able to concoct elementary pills. Alchemists had to be able to concoct intermediate pills and so on. Concocting pills that matched the level of the alchemist was also an important basis for the assessment of the alchemist. The more than 20 students on the field methodically threw the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace in order. After the medicinal herbs melted, they condensed the pills according to alchemist techniques until the pills were ready. Seeing that the students on stage had completed their concocting, the crowd below the stage waited patiently for the judges' scores. About half an hour late, the results were finally out. Lu Yan was still second and had successfully entered the semi-final. A total of 10 alchemists advanced to the semi-final, and only 3 alchemists could enter the final, so the semi-final would be very intense. At the residence of the Heavenly Phoenix Academy, in the Elegance Lagoon Pavilion. Lu Yan, tell me if you don't have enough medicinal herbs. Lung Ruoxue came to Lu Yan's room and said to Lu Yan, who was practicing. Then she didn't bother him anymore and conveniently dragged away Elder Chiu, who came along with her. Ruoxue, why didn't you let me speak? Elder Chiu asked in puzzlement. Don't give him pressure. He's the number one genius of our academy's alchemist division. You should have confidence in him, Lung Ruoxue said. Of course, I have confidence in him. I just want to encourage him, Elder Chiu said aggrievedly. Chapter 96. You've already got me already, 6. There's no need, Lung Ruoxue said and forcefully dragged Elder Chiu away. This old man has to change his habit of encouraging people whenever they go on stage to compete. What's wrong with this old man? Why does his face look so awful? Lung Qingtian asked in puzzlement when he saw the two of them walking out of Lu Yan's room in the corridor. I asked him not to pressure Lu Yan, so I didn't let him speak, Lung Ruoxue explained. This old man is just too nervous, Lung Qingtian said understandingly. The elders of the various academies were very concerned about their academy's results. Yes, Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. Grandpa, rest early. Okay. There was only one round for the semi-final and final on the second day. Each person would concoct 2 kinds of pills, and they would obtain the final total score. After the semi-final in the morning, Lu Yan still entered the final with second place. The final in the afternoon attracted many families. The Alchemist Association of Lunar Capital also sent a vice president to serve as a judge to show how much importance it placed on the competition. Hey, have you heard? Lu Qing, who was first in the semi-final, is the beloved disciple of one of the vice presidents of the Alchemist Association. Someone below the stage said softly. Really? Then won't he win for sure? This isn't fair to others, right? Another person commented. There's no such thing as absolute fairness in this world. Power, status, and fairness all exist. But I don't think the people of the Alchemist Association would dare to be blatantly biased in front of everyone, right? Another person joined the discussion. Why are there so many people all of a sudden? Lung Ruoxue asked in bewilderment when she saw the audience full of people. The finals are open to ordinary people, but only 300 are allowed, Lung Ruhan explained. The finals of the other competitions were open to ordinary people, except for the spiritualist team competition. This was the usual practice for every competition. I see. But aren't they too noisy? Lung Ruoxue said worriedly. This kind of competition required full concentration, and it might affect the competitor's performance if it was too noisy. Don't worry. They will quiet down once the competition officially begins, Lung Ruhan said. Sure enough, everyone was silent when the final officially began. All their eyes were on the three people competing on stage. In addition to Lu Yan and Lu Qing from the Rising Dragon Academy, there was another student from the Lunar Shadow Academy named Li Yuan. The three of them were alchemists, and the pill that all of them selected to concoct was the Replenishing Spirit Pill. The Replenishing Spirit Pill was an intermediate pill that had to be mastered by alchemists, and was also a very common pill. It was mainly used to recover spiritual power, so the demand for replenishing spirit pills was very high. In order to concoct good pills, besides the alchemist techniques, controlling the flame was also very important. Moreover, the mental strength of alchemists had a decisive effect on the quality of their pills, mainly because the mental strength required to concoct pills was very high. If the mental strength was not enough, there was no way to finally form the pills, no matter how well the prior steps were done. What pill does Lu Yan want to concoct? Elder Qiu asked in bewilderment, as he watched Lu Yan take out medicinal herbs one by one from his ring. Lu Yan had already completed one kind of pill, and was preparing to concoct a second one. Spiritual Essence Pill. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. What? SPI Spiritual Essence Pill? Elder Qiu's jaw almost fell off from shock. Only a master alchemist could concoct spiritual essence pills. Wasn't that ridiculous? This is too ridiculous. Elder Qiu was fuming. Not necessarily, Lung Ruoxue said. She had known that this would be Elder Qiu's reaction, so she didn't tell him in advance. In fact, Lu Yan had looked for her last night and told her that he wanted to concoct spiritual essence pills. But he was a little nervous because the success rate had always been low. She encouraged Lu Yan to do as he wished without needing to think about the results. It seemed that Lu Yan took her words seriously. Elder Qiu, Lu Yan will still be in the top 3 even if he fails the concocting. But he will be first if he succeeds. Lung Ruoxue reminded. That's true. Elder Qiu calmed down after hearing what she said. Alas, it seems I'm really old now. I just can't keep up with the boldness of youth. On the stage, Lu Yan threw the medicinal herbs into the furnace according to the steps, and carefully controlled the size of the flame. After the medicinal herbs melted, he began to purify them. When the medicinal liquid of only the size of a baby's fist was left, and could no longer be purified, he began the final step of condensing the pill. Everyone's eyes were focused on Lu Yan, especially the judges on the stage, as the other two people had already completed their pills. They all stared at Lu Yan without blinking. If he really could concoct spiritual essence pills, he could be promoted to master alchemist. Lu Qing and Li Yuan also stared at Lu Yan, because Lu Yan's performance determined their fate. After a while, Lu Yan finally completed the last step. Everyone's hearts, including his own, jumped to their throats when he opened the pill furnace. When he saw the 3 pure white pills in the middle of the furnace, the joy in Lu Yan's heart was indescribable. It was a success. Yes, we did it. Elder Qiu exclaimed excitedly. Lung Ruoxue looked indifferently at the 3 competitors, and the judges with varying expressions on the stage, taking in their thoughts. The 3 competitors were all alchemists, but Lu Yan concocted spiritual essence pills. This was enough to show that Lu Yan's strength had already surpassed the alchemy genius Lu Qing of the Rising Dragon Academy. But Lu Qing was also the disciple of a vice president of the Alchemist Association, so she really looked forward to the judging panel's evaluation. This time, the evaluation took much longer than the previous evaluation. The judges on stage were discussing softly, and the audience below the stage were whispering among themselves. After nearly an hour, the judges' score was out. Lu Yan and Lu Qing tied for first place. The reason was that the success rate of spiritual essence pills was too unstable and couldn't be used as the only basis for evaluation. So Lu Yan's strength currently couldn't be determined. If he wanted to determine his level, he had to go to the Alchemist Association. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.